build our own software and our own tool. So we chose Zoho Creator. Choosing Zoho for us was very easy, especially for me because I was a freelancer developer with Zoho Creator beforehand. We store on Zoho Creator all of the templates of those tasks with the descriptions, with the details, some image to explain how the tasks are done.
So I'm using Zoho Creator day to day to make good decisions for the clients and the intern team. I will use dashboard, I will use different reports regarding the sales, regarding the inventory to be sure to have the good thing at the end of the day. So.
Hi. Hi, how's it going? I know there's more than 50 people in this room because I'm very terrified of seeing all of you. It's a very big, full room. How is everybody doing this morning? That is very, very, very good to hear. We are so excited to have you here. We are so excited to see more and more people streaming into this room right now, and we are so excited for Zoholics 2025 here in Houston. Give yourselves a big round of applause. We really, really appreciate it to have so many wonderful customers, users, partners, the entire Zoho community joining us here for a couple of days to talk about Zoho. And we are just, again, so grateful for your business, so grateful to be working with you, and we're so grateful to have you here, taking time out of your day, traveling, making your connection flight, all of that good stuff. We really, really, really appreciate it. My name is Taylor Backman. I am a senior evangelist at Zoho. Interesting job title, do not work for a church. That occasionally does become a question I have to answer. Generally speaking, I try to learn as much as I can about Zoho, go out, spread the good news to folks like yourselves, collect your feedback, take it back inside, be your advocate, and we try to make Zoho as good as we can for you. That's my role. Someone that is going to be helping me throughout this keynote sessions is Zach. Everybody say, hey, Zach. Zach is going to be helping me up here with the podium, making sure that everything goes swimmingly. So we have some great sessions to start off. We're going to start off with a session from Ali Shabdar, who is going to basically give you a bigger welcome and give you some information about the event and help you get Zoholics off to a good start. Then we're going to hear from the Zoho USA CEO, Tony. We're going to hear from Raju, the Chief Evangelist. We're going to hear from Vijay Sundaram, our Chief Strategy Officer. So, are you in the right place? Do you think this is what you've come for? Or do you know you're supposed to be in the room for this? We feel good about this? That was a slightly tepid response, and it has me a little concerned that things are going to quickly go off the rails. So let's try this one more time. How are you guys feeling? Are we ready for this? Okay, so once again, I feel like we could do just a tiny bit better, all right? So we're going to try it one more time. Are you guys ready for Zoholics 2025? Let's welcome to the stage Ali. He is the Director of Growth, and he's going to get this thing going. Give him a big, big round of applause. He has a long walk. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. Morning, everyone. I love the energy. Beautiful. Oh, there is a lot of energy. Awesome. Let's get this going. So, great news for all of us. This is the biggest Zoholics yet. We have 1,600 people, a bit more than that this year, 1,600 people. I really appreciate your time, your effort, making the time, coming out to Houston, if you're from outside especially. And I know it's a beautiful morning out there, so I do appreciate and I thank you on behalf of the entire Zoho team. Thank you. All right. Now, I have a couple of questions. Who's not from Houston? Oh my, we should film this. Who's not from Texas? Where are you guys coming from? Yeah. Virginia Beach. Northern Virginia, neighbors, literally. Awesome. Who's not from the United States? There are a few hands. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank you also to our sponsors, to our exhibitors. This is a economically, suspicious year, I would say. And so to make that commitment, to be able to come and exhibit with us, to sponsor with us, we really appreciate your support. You've been always there for us. More sponsors and exhibitors. And this year, for the very first time, we have LinkedIn with us. So we have some of the LinkedIn team members here. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, we really appreciate their help. I'll tell you where they are. You can meet them. They have some really exciting stuff to share with you. And for the very first time, they are bringing the digital marketing certification program outside their NYC headquarters. And we're going to have them today and tomorrow. Please check the agenda, what time it is. If you can make it, limited seating, please visit. You might be able to get your digital marketing certification as well. Now, please grab your phones. This is not something that I would ask in any other event. Usually we ask please to leave your phones away. However, it's going to rain QR codes. I apologize in advance. There's a lot of codes to scan. I know. But before that, I learned something yesterday about Houston, and it actually was very, very interesting to me. I thought I'd share it with you. Did you know AstroTurf got its name after it's getting installed for the very first time back in the 60s in the Astrodome? It's globally known. The artificial turf is globally known as AstroTurf. I did not know where the name came from. I learned that from Greg from LinkedIn yesterday. Thank you, Greg, if you're here. Now, time to QR. I hope everybody's connected by now, but if you are not, you can scan the QR code, and network is Zoholics, password is Houston 2025, capital H. Please be patient with technology. I know this is a tech event, but Wi-Fi is a bit needy and a bit moody. Now, the next one is downloading the Zoholics app. I know it's another app on your phone, probably, and hopefully you have it already, but we're going to do a lot with this app, not only just checking the agenda and bookmarking our favorite sessions, but also a couple of games that we're going to play throughout the event. So I'd appreciate if you download and install it, either an App Store or Play Store. I leave this here for like a second. All right. By the way, you can just search for Zoholics app on your app store, and it'll download it for you. Now, we also have one-on-ones. I know a good number of you have registered for the one-on-one support sessions. So this is how you book if you have not yet. This is how you book. Please scan the QR code based on your phone and register there. And the registration app for the one-on-one session is brought to you by Zoho Creator. We build our own apps. Who uses Zoho Creator? Oh my, Tejas is in trouble. We have a lot of engineers today. Okay, where are we? I know it's a big venue. We try to keep everything on the same floor in one corner, but even that corner is pretty large. So we have these maps printed out outside, at least in 2 or 3 locations. So this is where we are. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, the pointer works. This is where we are almost. Actually, this is where we are. Excuse me. General Assembly. You're here. You come out to the corridors where you're registered, and we talk about Expo Hall and others. So the tracks will happen here. As you see, sales, marketing, service. Forgive me if this is a bit too small. And it's fairly easy to go around the venue. Now, the Expo Hall. Remember this one on the side, end of the hall? What we have here, on the right side, these are the one-on-one sessions. That's where it's going to happen. So you enter here. To your right, this is where you go for the one-on-one sessions. End of the hall, this is the Experience Center. This is where you can have a quick look at our products. Our product teams are going to be here, hands-on experience. Enterprise Lounge is here, and LinkedIn Lounge for you to lounge, enjoy, and ask LinkedIn team questions. One of the things that the LinkedIn team will share with you, and our team as well, is the number of integrations that we have in our marketing apps, Zoho Recruit, and Zoho Analytics with their platform. So if you're a user of either, I think you should hear about the integrations. And the rest of the partners and sponsors are distributed across the hall. This is where you got your breakfast, and the lunch will be served here as well. We're going to have some exciting food coming with food trucks as well. All right, this is how the Experience Center looks like in a rendering. I really like the rendering, so I just put it there. I bet most of you have seen it in real time. So you be the judge how well we did to execute this rendering. More QR code for you guys. This is for Zoho Community. Who knows about Zoho Community? Very well, great. They have a booth in the Expo Hall. Please do scan, forgive me. Do scan this QR code, get to know more about the Zoho community. They go to all the cities and states, and all countries actually. They come to your city, and this was not me. Okay. And yeah, please learn more about them. This is the actual community that comes to your city, answers your questions, and this clicker is very jumpy. Now, next up. Scan this QR code. It's going to be very interesting. Take some time with it, probably now or later, and score your security level. It's going to download Zoho One Auth. If you haven't downloaded it, this is something that you really need, I think, for multi-factor authentication. You need an authenticator app. And who better than Zoho? If your score is, let's say, less than 70 or 80, I definitely visit booth number 401 in the Expo Hall for a free checkup to see how your personal security level and also your organizational security level. This could be a very interesting and eye-opening experience for a lot of us. Okay. Please ignore this QR code. I removed it like 10 minutes ago because it goes to one of our YouTube channels. However, the magazine I want to touch on, I believe you received the magazine in your welcome package when you registered. This is, I see some no's. Okay, so we'll give you a copy. This is our very first attempt in releasing a printed and digital magazine. It's at edition 5 now. We've been doing it for a year. And I think we are the only tech company that has its own magazine. Our staff are interviewed, some of the best practices are shared, some of the case studies. You can download the PDF, and you can also get a physical copy of that. Zoho Business Pulse. So this is the only QR code that I will ask you to kindly ignore. Okay, who's who? I know, who's here for the first time, by the way? First Zoholics. Wonderful. I could see probably 50 to 60%. Fantastic. So, people with black lanyards are Zoho employees, Zoho staff. Green are our partners. More on them in a moment. Attendees, you, ladies and gentlemen, wearing the yellow one. And media and analysts, whoever is from the press, is wearing a blue lanyard. So whatever you tell them is on the record. Don't tell me I didn't tell you before. Partners. Who are our partners? These are other companies who have become our partner to be able to help you with configuring and customizing Zoho platform for you, to teach you about how large and deep the platform is, to make sense of all these 55 applications that we have, and to implement solutions for you based on your unique needs. Most of our needs are very similar, but there are always unique things that we do in our business that we want to customize it to our own requirement. Partners will help you with that. And these people are wearing green lanyards. Some of them are exhibiting in the expo hall. And you can always find them on our website as well. I'd like to thank our sponsors one more time. I leave this here for a second. You'll see all of these guys in the expo hall. You get to meet with them. And last QR code, I promise. This one probably you really want to scan it. Please scan the QR code and start participating in a game that we're going to play in the next 2 days. And the first winner will get an Apple AirPods. I heard it's going to be engraved, which is cool. Zoho branded backpack and a cap, plus a Zoho branded Levi's jacket and a hat. I leave this for 5 more seconds. All right. Now, my request to you, my humble request, is to use these 2 days. You invested a lot of time and money to be here, to learn, to share your learnings, to teach, and also to network. Use this platform to network. Hopefully, it will bring you good business, and also maximize on your experience. We are in a beautiful venue, among beautiful people, and we're in a beautiful city. Hope you enjoy the day and tomorrow as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ali, for taking us through what we're going to be doing here at Zoholics. Did you guys like Ali? I know you clapped very politely for him, but he's a funny guy, right? Okay, excellent. I think you guys are probably one of the best Zoholics crowds we've ever had. And my metric for that, it's very anecdotal, is just sitting and watching how fast you raise your hands when we ask you a question. Your hands are shooting up extremely quickly, which shows to me that you're very engaged, you're very happy to be here, and you're very, very excited for Zoholics. So we are going to keep things moving. We are just slightly ahead of schedule, but that is okay. It means that we have extra time with Tony here, who I'm about to bring on. Tony Thomas is a co-founder of Zoho, and he recently became the CEO of Zoho USA. So with that, let's please give Tony a nice big round of applause. We're going to be really excited to hear from him. Here we go. Come on. He's got a long walk. He's very old. He walks slow.
Oh, hi, everyone. Yeah, great to see this audience here. Like Ali said, this is one of our largest Zoholics we've done. We used to like to do small events in multiple cities, but that got pretty hard to manage. It's great to see the audience here today. Thank you for coming and braving the heat and being here. You know, most of us came from Austin, where they have an extreme heat advisory today. I didn't think we'd be coming to Houston to escape the heat. Can I get the clicker? Some not moving. There it is. Oops. Yeah, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about the business reality of AI. AI is on everybody's mind, and the next 2 days, you're going to be hearing a lot of AI in our products. There's even a dedicated AI track. But today my goal was to, talk about the business impact and the reality of it. So before I get into that, most of you who've been to Zoholics are used to hearing from Sridhar Vembu, our chief scientist and resident philosopher. So he has some exciting things he's working on that he wants to share with you. So he couldn't be here in person, unfortunately, but he wanted to, dial in and share some things with you. So he's online, ready to go. All right. There's Sridhar for you. Please give him a round of applause. Yeah, Sridhar, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you, Tony. Can you guys hear me well? Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Thank you, Tony, and thanks for the introduction. And I apologize for not being there in person. I've been working extremely hard on some new technology that I'd be happy to share to all at least some of the glimpse into this. And Tony talks about the business reality of AI. And one of that reality hit home this last week where, you've heard the trend of companies laying off customer service agents and hiring AI to do the job. Well, some of those companies are pulling back and hiring people back again. I'm happy to tell you that we never fell for that one. We actually, even though we also have agents, but we do believe that our customers deserve to talk to a human being, not to a bot. And the bot can help our agent do a better job. A bot can maybe answer some basic questions, like pulling up some documentation and stuff. But you cannot completely rely on bots to do customer service. And we never did that. We never actually, we do want to put live humans to support you. And we have, in fact, expanded our support team. And just this last week, we heard that this agent thing is a little bit overhyped, and maybe we shouldn't be pushing it so hard. At least other, I don't want to mention names, but they're starting to admit to it now. So that I think is similar to something that broader I want to talk about. Where really is AI heading? And in fact, most interestingly, they're most excited about software development itself. The act of developing software, all of this stuff that we deliver for you that you love to use daily, day to day, that can be much more automated. But I personally believe, and it's not just AI, it's AI plus additional technologies, crucial technologies we need. That is what is going to deliver this whole productivity revolution. And even take this word agent, agentic systems. What do they mean? So your AI is producing some kind of structured information or code, and that is now performing some actions for you. And those actions could be maybe answer a support question automatically or whatever, right? Or buy a ticket, make a restaurant reservation, any of those things. It's performing action in the real world. in effect, it is code that's running on your behalf. You may not realize it's code, but it is actually code. It is some kind of software that's running. The software may have come from an AI, but it's still software that's affecting your computer. For example, it may have to submit your credit card information or whatever. So you want that system to be absolutely 200% trustworthy. You don't want that to be easily hackable, all of those. Well, today's purely LLM technology alone cannot make those guarantees. It can output some code that can run, maybe. Most of the time it can run, but there are no guarantees about the code, what it does. And it can do some things that we don't want it to do. And particularly if it's outputting thousands of lines of code, we don't have any kind of guarantee. So who provides a guarantee? That's one critical question. Turns out the latest research is you combine this AI system with what is known as traditional compilers, verification systems. And those are well-studied areas. There's a lot more research going into it. You put them together, and then you have a much better system. And as you may have guessed, I am actually working on those areas right now. How do you ensure that the actions you perform from AI are verifiably correct? And I'm happy to report that we are making rapid strides in this. We actually have excellent stuff in our labs running now. So that's one area that I'm personally working on. I'm working flat out, weekends, all the time now. I'm working harder now than I ever worked before. So, and also now I'm chief scientist, so I bear responsibility for all this technology now. That's the first one. The second one I want to talk about in terms of the software landscape, there's one thing crucial that is missed in the conversation about LLMs. When you put your business data and train an LLM with your data, your training information is diffused over all of those weights. It's sort of taking a tub of salt and immersing it in a huge lake. Where did the salt go? Well, it went everywhere. It's all over the lake. It's not in any one place, right? It's diffused all over the lake. Exactly the same way, your business data that trained those 50 billion, 100 billion, 200 billion, 500 billion weights, which are just numbers. So there's 500 billion numbers are somehow encoding your information, but you don't know which part is encoding your particular specific information. And what it means is you cannot actually delete it. Deleting means all of those 500 billion have to be essentially trained from scratch again, because you can never be guaranteed that that information you wanted gone or updated is actually updated or gone. So an LLM is not a classical database. It's very different. It appears like a database because you're pulling information from it with some intelligence combined, some reasoning combined, but it's not like a traditional database. So which means that you have to augment traditional databases with AI. So I told you two levels of augmentation, one at the database level, and the other I mentioned at the code that's coming out. So these are technologies that actually we are working very hard on how to get these right. And it turns out our Zia search we have, that's an excellent way to augment the LLM. That's a vector database, and we are doing that to augment your prompt. This is what they call the RAG systems, RAG, the retrieval augmented generation, they call it. So we're using that heavily, and I think Raju will demonstrate some of the apps we have built on it. So that's one level where the database stays over traditional databases. We build a layer to retrieve and give that information to AI. What is interesting is we always had those systems. In exactly the same way, we have been working on these verification systems for a variety of needs. In fact, I am of the opinion that software programming productivity can be massively improved. Perhaps a 10-fold jump, could even be a 100-fold jump. And this is an opinion I had even before the advent of LLMs. And now I even more strongly believe that that will happen. And we have actually some very important technologies in that area. That's what we are working on. That's all I had to say today, and I want to give it back to Tony. Tony has a nice presentation ready for you. Thank you very much. I'll stay on and I'll be happy to take some questions after Tony's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sridhar. So, we're definitely working on a lot of technology, and AI is on, most people's minds. So today I wanted to step back a little bit and give you some perspective on what AI means for business and the way Zoho is looking at AI and our strategic view of it and our goal of investing in AI to help our customers leverage AI to the fullest. So this was the title of a recent keynote that Sridhar gave, and the story of last year was a little different than it is today. Last year, the hype around AI and how it's going to take away our jobs. It's not surprising that vendors would hype AI, but media got into it in a big way. So reading the stories, you'd think that AI is going to take away most jobs. And some of us were looking forward to sitting at home collecting UBI. But that AI revolution has been postponed, if not, but it's certainly not canceled in our view. But some of the hype around it certainly got ahead of reality. For those of you who are following, Klarna was one of the early companies. We got to appreciate these companies that are willing to dive in and test and be pioneers in testing the waters. But last year they had planned to replace their workforce. And I saw this headline yesterday saying that they're starting to hire people back. So they're certainly on the bleeding edge of this, giving us insight into how well this works. So thinking back, when you look at what really happened, the consumer has been using AI very heavily. We could easily see the kind of impact AI has. And, for even a business user, the usage of AI has been a boost to, creating content, to communicating, to understanding a lot of, summarizing things, and so on. A lot of these things are already in our products. And some of you are using it quite heavily now. I think the growth has been pretty high. I was hearing that we have we have crossed 20 billion API requests a month for AI, and that's growing quite fast. So while the hype around AI, has been a little over the top, we do believe that AI is going to impact everything. We don't see, I can't think of any business or function that won't be impacted by AI in the future. How much is to be seen? So we have to hold these two opposing ideas in our head, that AI is overhyped, and it's really important for business to be thinking about AI and how it's going to change your business. So I think it's F. Scott Fitzgerald who wrote that the test of a first-rate intelligence is holding two opposing ideas in your head and being able to function. I don't think that'll be a problem for this group. We have a very intelligent group here. These are Zoho customers. So I want to talk a little bit about consumer AI versus business AI. When I talk about consumer AI, I'm talking even about the business user using consumerist tools. And the adoption there has been enormous. I think I may have read that ChatGPT was dramatically higher in terms of the growth, than the previous product at the rate of growth that it had in the first year or two. So the amount of usage we've seen with ChatGPT has been, similar LLMs has been dramatic. Sometimes it might already be outdated, but the level of energy and power required is pretty crazy. So when you think about it, I sometimes tell people, if you have a chance to use your own brain versus using the AI to do some simple tasks, I wish you'll use your own brain because you're saving all that much energy and water. So you're doing something for the planet by using your own brain. You also have to think about the future where, what happens if we stop using our own brains? We'd be dealing with a dystopian future like you see in movies like WALL-E and Idiocracy. So we definitely want to be, in the mode where people are not relying too much on AI. And when you receive emails and so on, and it's written by AI, you lose interest in reading them. So the need for people to use AI in the right way is definitely part of it. But for business, there are a number of other aspects that come in. Now, I'm not talking about the user using it like a consumer and using the tools, aside from avoiding sharing proprietary information. The rest of it is really a useful tool that people are using on a day-to-day basis. But when it comes to a business, there are a number of other considerations that come in. The security of your data, the privacy of yours and your customers' data is clearly a big element of it. Right? When we look at authorization, that's another big piece that you have to worry about. Who gets to see data in an organization? So one of the nice consumer tools was a Google product called Notebook LM, where you can throw in all your data and get some really nice, you can ask it questions and it'll do a lot for you. One of the features that many of you know is you can create podcasts of that information in any form you want. So all that is good from a consumer or very small business point of view. But once you get past any reasonable size business, you have to worry about who gets to see data within an organization. So getting the authorization right, getting the data processing right within a business is a clear challenge that we have to worry about. So when we look at all of the business aspects, compliance, and so on, we can't rush in and use these LLMs at will. The economics is the other big piece I want to talk about. The initial consumer use cases, it feels like somehow this is the consumer use case is being subsidized by venture capital or something. The costs are relatively low. But once a business starts to use the AI very heavily, costs start to matter. Using a frontier LLM for every one of your business needs, the costs are going to add up pretty quickly. So it's important to be thinking about how do we make the economics work for businesses once they start using these technologies very heavily. because we do think that heavy use is the future. People are going to be using it for many things on a daily basis. And for Zoho, getting the economics right has always been a priority. Let's talk a little bit about the state of AI technology. No, you don't need new glasses. This was my attempt to try to use AI to talk about some of the key technologies that we are looking at with AI. I used one of the leading tools for generating this kind of thing. I don't want to name names because this was just my first attempt, very quick attempt. And when I saw this, I thought I'll just use it for my presentation. If you go back to the history of LLMs, we started with pre-trained LLMs, which have steadily been getting better, and instruction tuning that really opened it up with ChatGPT. And we've been very happy to see open source models emerge. It was definitely a big boon when you start looking at the cost of these things. I mean, the word on the street is that the pre-trained LLM, the curve is leveling off. So you're starting to see less and less gains. I guess we're running out of data to throw at it, original data to throw at it. And there are a couple of things that have been really improving the overall LLM technology. One is reasoning models. And they're trying things with synthetic data as well. So we may not be, leveling off as fast. But you do worry about synthetic data and how well that's going to work. When we look at some of the recent advances, I'll talk more about that in a moment, with smaller distilled models and so on, you're starting to see a lot of choices emerge. And this is going to really allow us to apply the technology in the ways that we want and offer the economics that I mentioned that are needed for heavy use of this technology. Looking more closely at this picture, it looks like the AI is trying to tell us what comes after reasoning LLMs. I just wish I could read that. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about open source LLMs because this is important to our, offering the economics I mentioned. We've all heard of DeepSeek, and which dropped a few months ago and gave us really cost reduction that has been a boon to many of us. The distilled models I mentioned, something like Qwen, has been a real boost to using smarter models and getting very good results. Right? So much so that now even people like Microsoft and Google, and I even heard this talk of OpenAI releasing open source models. So open source is going to be a key enabler for us. At Zoho, we certainly rushed into investing in GPUs and people to build LLMs, and certainly couldn't keep up with the market. We continue to do that. We are investing in our own LLMs and looking for where we can bring some advantage to it with the training data and all the things that we do. But this abundance of open source models of varying sizes is going to really enable us to provide the technology in a more economical way. So the key would be to use the right tool for the job. Right? there are certain cases where using the frontier models is something you'd want to do. Right? So if you're looking at trying to understand broad user intent in broad domains, if you're trying to distill vast amounts of world knowledge into specification, all of those require the more knowledge you have, the better. There are lots of more focused problems where a small LLM can do the job quite well. So the technology right now is still evolving. It's not the ground is shifting as we speak, and there's a lot of focus models trained on specific data. So our labs, we're trying a lot of this. We're doing many experiments with data, trying to bring efficiency in the kinds of problems kinds of solutions we're offering. And so this is going to be a big piece of getting this right. So for the business use cases, it's not just the application side. Even the technology is now undergoing a lot of refinement, a lot of improvement, as well as bringing efficiency to it. And that's an area we're investing quite heavily in. So beyond the LLM, there's a lot of pieces that need to be done, right? And I'm still focused on the technology piece of this. I'll come to the business, but it's important to understand the pieces that go into getting AI right. So the LLMs keep improving, costs coming down. They're getting good at focused problems, and we try to, continually test different things. It's an interesting situation where every day there is some new announcement, new technology. Our labs team doesn't get any sleep, I think, just trying to try these things out. But where it pays off for a business is, all the scaffolding tech you build around it. So the starting point for any business is to get the digital maturity, right? So you have to get your business information, both being collected and digitized and available, but also kept current, kept up to date. As Sridhar mentioned, when it comes to the LLM, you're not using this data for training, because this is data that's going to change and evolve. So early on, we were thinking we will use, fine-tuning and train the LLM with that data. But clearly, that doesn't make sense for business data. That's going to be something that's going to be evolving. And these RAG and other approaches are needed. But for a business, what it means is you have to get your information together, your information collected, and a good system for keeping it up to date. So the knowledge bases, the databases is the other big piece, right? And your business data, what should be available to the LLM, all that is part of it, collecting it in one place or in a set of repositories that are available to the AI. So the good thing about Zoho is we offer a lot of products. We're bringing the data together. So if you use something like Zoho One, a lot of that data is being collected, and I'll talk later about some of the things we're doing to help your business use that AI. You use that data for AI. So the knowledge bases, the databases, and Sridhar mentioned the compilers. So that's kind of the way we are thinking about it. Not everybody talks about it this way. But you often use the LLM, as the, where you feed it the prompt and you use it as the engine to generate the specification of what you want to do. And because of hallucination and other issues, you have to be able to verify that data and convert it to something that can be used in our downstream systems. So that in some sense is what a compiler is. And so we think of it as compiler technology. And while we have built a lot of other pieces, we're really investing heavily in that technology to make it as robust as possible. The better your specification and verification and all of that in that chain, the better your AI is going to perform. It's easier to verify. It's easier to make sure that the system, doesn't run amok. I mean, we've seen a lot of these tools that generate code, generate UI. One of the challenges with those systems is, what do you do after you do it the first time? If you ask the AI to generate an updated version, it does something completely different. Right? So trying to keep it consistent, trying to keep it from generating unmaintainable slop is one of the challenges with AI. So being able to have it generate a well-formed specification that can be verified, and then a compiler that takes it and converts it to the systems and backend platforms that you need is really the key compiler piece of technology that's needed. In addition to that, of course, you have to build the UIs and the workflow and all of the other pieces that are needed to complete your AI application. So our teams have built many of these things already. So I don't want to say this is all coming, but these are still very early versions of this. Right? You have to see this as technology that is very much evolving. Some of the pioneers have gone in and burnt their fingers. Some of them have gone in and seen results. You're certainly not late to AI if you start now. You have to see it as the technology is just getting to a point of usability where most of us can start using it more and more. And this I'm now talking about the business use case. And so I do think, though, it's important to start thinking about it. I'll talk about how we should think about it. So for a business today, AI is definitely on many people's minds, as I said. And, the first question to ask yourself is, how is your business going to change because of AI? Right? That's first order, meaning the core of your business. How is your customer experience? How is your customer buying? The business going to change because of AI. You can do a lot of things around operational efficiency and improving the tools you provide users. All of that is available to you to invest in. But the first question to ask is, how is AI going to change my business? And depending on the business, some of them have already changed in the way they work. For example, we had from content providers to other businesses, legal and so on, things have already had impact where AI has come in and changed the dynamic. Some of it is just people, feeling that things are going to change and maybe the hiring. Most executives the last year have been reluctant to go out and hire a lot of employees, thinking that AI is going to change all this, so let me not get caught on the wrong side of hiring too many people. But a few businesses have already seen AI impacting the way the business works. Most cases, it is a case of bringing some efficiency, bringing some improvement in process. But going forward, our view is that a lot of businesses are going to be impacted by AI. And when you look at your own business, you have to be watching for how AI is going to change the business itself. And that's the core that you need to be ensuring you're investing in and trying out things and being able to be competitive in that way. The context, as I call it, this core versus context is an old phrase that's been used from the outsourcing times on to cloud to everything, where you make sure keep the core and outsource the context. I'm not sure I like the context term per se, but you get the idea. When it comes to your core business, that's the first thing you need to be looking at. How is AI going to change it? And then figuring out how to make sure you're investing in that. There are a number of easy wins to be had with AI. Many of these things are already in Zoho products, like summarization or generating templates to what have you. And over the next few days, you'll see a lot of those features mentioned in the talks. The next thing that you probably can look at is decision support. Right? If you look at helping your executives and staff make decisions, using AI, collecting your information, being able to ask questions about your data information is going to really have benefits to your business. So that's a relatively straightforward thing to be investing in. And depending on the size of your business, the investment can be small or large. And our Zoho Analytics products already offer you tools to help you with some of this. The next area that is impacting businesses is AI assistance. Right? So once you've collected your information in one place, you're keeping it current, and your data is available to the AI, you can offer employees at different functions tools to really make things move faster for them. Information at their fingertips, but even better than the previous generation. You don't just search, you ask questions, you get a much better prompt-driven interface to it. The terminology of AI agents versus assistants and so on is still, I think there's some ambiguity around it. But the idea with agents is that they are supposed to be more autonomous as well as take actions on your behalf. I think at least of AI assistants is something that providing information to the employee to do things. But agents are where you expect it to be more autonomous in terms of both the decision making as well as the actions, which I think the actions piece is largely after a user has accepted at this stage. From the ones I've seen, you do want the user to validate what you're having the agents do. Now, I talked about the hype earlier. If you talk to two people who have been using AI, you'll get two different opinions on how well the technology works and how much is going to happen, how much should be done. So you're going to see a lot of, different experiences of AI based on how well something has worked. And so it's going to be difficult to, sort of count on one person giving you an unbiased view. There's no doubt it's showing amazing promise with many things, but there's also a lot of danger in the way, people have used AI and burnt their fingers. So you want to be thinking in terms of tools that assist your users first, get that working well, before you start thinking about autonomous agents that are doing things on their own. I have no doubt the technology will happen, that it's only a matter of time, but definitely agents is another one of those things I think vendors are overhyping at this stage. But your mileage will vary in that. Some may be using these effectively already, but for most people, it's going to be a matter of time before these things slowly get better. The technology is moving fast. at all levels. So, it's a matter of opinion how good it's got and how well it works for your specific use case. And finally, the future promise is AI employees, right? And this, I think, is very much at the hype stage. So, I think until we get the other pieces working, I don't think looking at AI employees is going to be very useful. But certainly people are talking about this, and there's even been some interesting experiments where I saw something where somebody created an entire company with AI employees, and it was a disaster. So clearly the technology is not ready, but that is the future that we will have to look at. So when you look at the industry and where AI has had the biggest impact, leaving aside the consumer and business user using the consumerish tools, which obviously has had dramatic impact. I think I read that a lot of search is now, people are using AI instead. Though I saw a survey recently that the number was something like, under 3%. I was a little surprised. Anecdotally, from talking to people, especially younger people, many of them are using the ChatGPT and equivalents instead of search. But the numbers are still lower than I thought, it seems. But when you look at business AI and where the biggest impact appears to be, it is really custom solutions for your business. Right? That's where the dramatic impact has been. Your information, your data, process, and business priorities all are in this mix. Certainly if you're looking at any function in your business, like I said earlier, if it's going to impact your business, you do want to be thinking about it a lot. And certainly that's where the business priority comes in. This is a function we have to automate or improve the throughput or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So getting that business priority right, or what is it you really need to be doing and investing in that. Because the investment, while the technology is getting cheaper, the investment is a lot around your understanding your business process, collecting the information for your business, all of that, and making it work. There's going to be a lot of trial and error, a lot of experimentation before you can go live with the system. It's not a case of paying a consultant to come in and do things. I mean, there are some easy wins for this, right? There are things like, using AI for your internal processes. Like the first place AI is getting deployed more and more is for your internal operations. Because your employees are going to be looking at the results and telling you if it works or not. The last thing you want to do is voice this on customers without feeling that the technology is mature enough. So internal IT, HR, things like help desk, those are areas that have seen the most successes in deployments. Again, those tend to be very custom to your business. You have to look at your operations internally, and then have your employees be the guinea pigs for trying this out. Within Zoho, we have used many such tools, and the usage varies, and I've not heard glowing reports from employees on this, that the AI is working great. But it's a work in progress, so we have to give it some time. I mean, programmer productivity is where I'd say AI is currently the most heavily used. And certainly for us, our teams are using the tools. It's still early in the cycle of these programmer tools, especially with large code bases and so on. It's, there's definitely a long way to go before they get as productive as they know they're going to be. But, programmer are probably the ones using AI the most within our company. But there's a lot of initiatives internally to keep, pushing the envelope on this. And I think we're ready to deploy some of those systems more widely. So again, to reiterate, you really have to be thinking about what your business priorities are and making sure you're starting that journey of investing in AI to impact your business. I'm sure there's some business out there where AI has nothing, has no business being in, but that's very much the exception in our view. So now let me talk a little bit about how Zoho thinks about AI and what we're doing to invest in it. I droned on a little too long earlier, so I have to rush through some of these. So Zoho's always been about economic value, right? So we do see the need to make sure that we are investing wisely, investing to offer the best value for our customers. And so while we do think that this is a massive opportunity to improve many aspects from business to other things, we're always looking at the cost of the technology, how well it'll work once people use it heavily, and so on. We have made investments from the, building our own LLMs to optimizing, to instruction tuning, to trying, various ways of optimizing, particularly smaller models, because that's where we think we can, eke out a lot of efficiency. And so, that's been a significant area of investment for us. And certainly when you look at applications, look at use cases, look at how customers, can benefit from AI, we are investing heavily there. And that's where a lot of the manpower or resource is going into. So we have invested in data centers. We have, 16 data centers. You might ask, why are we building our own data centers versus using one of the public clouds? So again, this goes back to the economics. We think we can offer customers a lot more value if you're able to, host these models, optimize the models we're using, and, are able to really bring efficiency across all of our suite. Now we are a, massive user base. We are large enough to really bring the benefits of scale. One of the challenges we have is we can't get the data centers up fast enough. There's a lot of challenges with doing it in different countries, and every country now wants its own data center, so that tends to, create a lot of challenges for our infrastructure teams. But we are committed to investing and scaling that up because we think we can offer customers real value by bringing that efficiency to our model. We're investing in models I already talked about. And like I said, the applications piece is where we are the most resource on. Every product team is announcing AI features. You'll see things that are coming. The first order was trying to do the quick things around providing, the consumerish benefits to you. But starting to look at what you're doing with the application and how that can be optimized. I mentioned earlier, the biggest benefit comes when you are doing custom solutions. So the challenge for us is how do we package some of these things to make it easy for a business to really, get these benefits. So that's clearly a big area that our teams are working on. So we are providing a platform, capabilities that all our applications can use. Then agents is something you'll be hearing more about. And one of the big changes I'll talk about is we are starting to do more on solutions. So the Zoho AI, we brand it all under the Zia umbrella. And so you'll see a lot about Zia. In fact, in the next session, Raju will talk a lot more about Zia. So I won't spend any time on this. So I mentioned that one of our, we have been relatively light on, the solutions business. As a company, we have been trying to create product that our customers can take and use. But as we move up market, we are seeing more and more of a need for a solution orientation. And we have started investing heavily in that. Certainly the partners are doing a lot of that, but Zoho increasingly is offering a solution to our customers, especially the larger customers. We have an enterprise business solutions team that offers custom solutions to our customers. And then we have smaller teams that focus on the mid-market that also provide custom solutions, along with having partners do that. And that's where AI, I think, can have significant impact on your business. So if you're thinking about AI solutions for your business, talk to your account managers or reach out to us. We'd be certainly happy to have that conversation with you and see if we can help you implement AI for your business. I mean, there's been a number of projects ongoing, things like sales coaching for multiple customers, and then improving customer engagement, product quality, faster service delivery, and so on. And I think you'll have some sessions talking about some of these and the specific examples, so I won't go into that today. So to conclude, I wanted to say that business AI is a marathon. You have to see it as something. It's not invest once and forget. It is it's going to get embedded into your business. We're going to try and provide you the tools, but thinking about it from your business point of view and understanding how AI is going to impact it is the first step in that process. And we'd be very eager to help you succeed with AI. We are heavily invested in enabling that future, and we see this as an ongoing, progress of AI that your business is going to benefit from. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tony, for that excellent talk on AI. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, we do not have time for questions because Tony had so much important stuff to tell you. However, Tony, Raju, Vijay, our whole executive team, they will be here all 2 days for this event. They are floating around. Sometimes at some conferences, the C-suite, they show up, they do their talk, they immediately leave. Not us. They will be here the entire 2 days. So if you catch them in the hall, talk to them and get your questions answered. We'll be happy to do that. I come from a non-technical background. I start hearing the term LLM, RAG database, all these other crazy things, and my head spins slightly, right? That's the value of me in my job, is I more closely resemble you than an engineer. So if you also have questions about any of the AI terms, any of these technologies that we're talking about, Tony did a really great job, I think, of kind of cutting through some of the hype and trying to be real and really giving some substantial information. The Zoho Experience Center in the Expo Hall, it is opposite of the one-on-one area. All of our product teams are out there. Product managers are there. We're happy to explain anything to you. There's no dumb question. I'm the person who asks dumb questions literally every day. So it's totally great, and we're really happy that you're all here, and we're wanting to keep, bring you up to speed on all of this crazy technology. Okay, so does that sound good? We good with that? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. And we are going to get into our next session with the Chief Evangelist, my boss. So if you see him in the hall, tell him I did a great job. And here he is now, Raju Vegesna.
Morning. Thanks, Taylor. Good morning. All right, let's talk products. We hear a lot about AI. Lot of theory around. Where the rubber hits the road is the products. So in this session, we're going to talk about products. As we set up here, I just want to do a quick poll. How many of you in the room on the consumer side, as an individual, use AI on a regular basis? A quick raise of hands. Wow, that's a large percentage. Now, let's shift to the business side. How many of you use AI in your business? That's a fair amount. Wow, you're already ahead. How many of you think you're using the products, or you're using the products, but don't realize that you're using AI inside the products? Okay, that's a tricky question. So, what I want to focus on here primarily is talk about applications, talk about AI's applicability in the context of business. And we'll focus on some of the things that we have done briefly, but most of the focus is going to be on what's new, what's coming. I'm going to split my session into two. Focus on the AI front, what's new in AI, and then we'll talk about what's new on the app side. We're launching a few new apps, as you can expect from Zoho. So let's start with the first section. What's new in AI? Well, we have been doing this for well over a decade. 2015, 20 is when we launched some of our initial set of products. We have been working on several models, small, narrow, medium, and all of that. And then LLMs came, and that kind of raised the bar a little bit, and there is a value to each of those. And AI has been part of Zoho for a very, very long time. As Tony mentioned, we branded Zia, Zoho's intelligent assistant. There are three aspects to Zia. I'm going to expand on each of these. We'll go into detail, maybe with an example or two in each of these areas. So let's start with Zia. What is Zia? It's basically intelligence that is sprinkled across Zoho. In a lot of cases, there's a lot of intelligence that is built into Zoho that you may not even realize that it's powered by AI, but it is sprinkled throughout Zoho. And that's how technology should be. The technology, in this case, particularly AI, should be contextually sprinkled inside the product, integrated inside the product, so you don't even realize that you're using AI. That's how we define it as the best usage of AI, is when you as a customer do not even know that you are using AI. And so we have embedded this across the board within Zoho, and there are hundreds of such contextual integrations that are integrated. You don't realize it partly because we don't nickel and dime you to charge you for every single AI piece out there. They are just contextually embedded and offered for you as part of your subscription. And you can see a bunch of those, hundreds of them, across the board, across various applications. You may say, hey, I went to a Starbucks, picked up a coffee, and take the receipt, take a photo of the receipt, and it's automatically added to expense. Well, you don't realize that there is an AI engine that is in the background scanning that receipt, automatically entering it as an expense, so you don't have to manually do it. Again, it's AI at work, but you don't realize it. That is contextual integration and contextual intelligence. We have several such things sprinkled across the board. I thought I'll probably show you just a couple, and then we can talk about a few. Let's see. We'll take a look at maybe a couple of examples. A lot of screens here. All right. Okay, let's look at mail. This is Zoho Mail. Most of you are familiar with it. If not, it's a powerful email system for your business. If you look at this email, just the fact that this particular email system loaded up, there is an AI at work, because it is our phishing email or phishing ML model that is automatically detecting if that email is a real email versus phishing email. When you see, let's say, an email, when you click on any particular email, you'll notice several aspects of it. Let's pick a simple email. In this case, I have an email here with an attachment. The fact that the attachment made it to your inbox, it already went through several AI layers. It went through our security layer. It went through malware detection layer, the virus layer. All of those are automatically embedded, but you don't even see it. Similarly, if you compose an email, you think it's straightforward. But the moment I hit, let's say, a single letter to type in, to address someone, the sorting of the contacts here is powered by AI, because it is basically based on your recency, your proximity, and various other factors out there. AI, we have built a work graph that automatically knows, understands who you're referring to, who you work with, and who are you working with recently, who is part of your team. Based on that, it makes a suggestion just with that, just when you type that letter in the to section of your compose window. AI is embedded there. So like that, AI is sprinkled throughout the application, but you don't know, you don't realize it. Of course, there are explicit ways you can ask AI to generate content and all of that, but that has always been there. Similarly, here I have a simple document, and maybe I want to save this document to Work Drive. I'll pick maybe one of the folders, just add it to the document, and it's added to Work Drive. Work Drive is our online storage system, and you have, it's a powerful system out there. Again, it goes through the same scanning engines as you add files to Work Drive. You received an email, you're adding it, and it goes through the ML model so that your files are secure. Now, let's say you have a document. You open a document. In this case, it opens in Zoho Writer, word processor. Simple document. But again, AI is embedded in here, where once you load the document, you can ask Zia, and Zia will give you the quality of the writing. If there are any spelling errors, it highlights those, gives you a tag cloud of whatever you have. So AI is thoroughly embedded contextually, where you don't think about it as AI, but it is embedded to provide value for your business. Then there are cases where you can go even one step further. There are areas where here I have a contract. I have a contract from some of the vendors, probably 20 plus pages. What I can do is I can ask AI some questions. Hey, in this case, I'll say, what is the insurance terms in this contract? So I can ask Zia, and Zia will analyze it and give you that information. I'm doing AI live demos. You don't see those often, because that is the reason you see a lot of these are recorded, because it's risky. And so we said, well, we'll do it live, because we have them in the products anyway. Some of these work. Most of these should work. If not, it's what it is. And that's the nature of AI. So we see this regularly. Now, if you look at this question, insurance terms, now it is able to go and get the details about the insurance terms as well. And when you have longer contracts, particularly the ones that runs into tens of pages, Now you can chat with documents, chat with Zia that will analyze the document and give you the information about it. Sometimes you may want to chat with a single document. Maybe other times, what if you want to group them into multiple folders? So we are soon going to be releasing what we call as Zia Hubs. Hubs is an aggregated folder where you can put a lot of your information into a hub. And now you can ask questions on that aggregated data. You can say, hey, I want to create a hub for all my contracts that I have signed with my customers. You can put them in a hub and ask AI some questions. So in this case, let's say I have a few marketing, or actually a contract hub with a few contracts. Now I can ask Zia, maybe what are the contracts, what contracts are expiring, or maybe in this case I'll say what contracts auto-renew, because you see those catches all the time. So, it's a very simple query. Let's see if it works. But we are into this age where, contracts simply auto-renew, and oftentimes we forget about it, and it auto-renews for another year. But what if you ask AI to help you with that? What if you ask AI to determine what contacts auto-renew and get to it? In fact, it found auto-renewal contract. It found something. In fact, it found it in the marketing and consulting agreement here. Now, where exactly did it find it? It also gives you the sources. Now, if I click on any of these sources, it'll take you to that particular section of Zia, that particular section of the document, and highlights it. You can take all your contracts, put it in a Zia Hub, and imagine the scenarios possible. We are expanding the usage even further. We're going to say, find all the contracts that auto-renew, and 30 days before the auto-renewal, add a calendar event on my calendar so that I can negotiate, discuss, and add a follow-up item. Those things are very much possible. So that's one example. Let's look at another example, like a tech town hall. We host these town hall sessions every week, and Sridhar particularly hosts those every week within the company. And if you are hosting something like that, imagine taking all of those recorded videos, recorded sessions, and putting it in a Zia Hub. Now I can ask something like, hey, what are the top topics discussed in town hall? So obviously, in this case, Zia analyzes all the videos. Previously, we looked at the documents. Now Zia analyzes the videos, looks at various aspects of it, which means it is automatically doing the transcripts, analyzing it, and gives you a summary. Hey, well, looks like the top topic here is the topic Tony discussed, and Sridhar often talks about, which is the hallucinations of 2024 and the reality of 2025. Well, that's one hub. Now, you can apply these examples across the board. We're doing a few things here as well. Imagine a support system. Every day you receive support calls from your customers. If you're using a system like Zoho Voice, you may be recording those. Zoho Voice has an option to record these audio calls for quality purposes. Take those audio calls, dump it into a hub. Now ask some questions. That might give you some insights. In fact, here I have several audio recordings. I can ask a question like, hey, what are the top questions asked by my customers? So now that analyzing that audio works the same way as analyzing text as well. In this case, the technology is something that we have built in-house, and all of this is hosted within Zoho. Now, it not only analyzes the data, it gives you the top questions, and more importantly, it gives you the sources. at any point of time, I can click any of these sources and go to the point at which that particular topic was discussed. In this case, it highlighted the sections right here so that you can go to that particular piece and see what questions and what the discussion was on this. Imagine multiple scenarios. Zia Hubs is going to be going live soon. Imagine multiple scenarios possible in your business. We are doing a few things where we have taken some audio calls with our customers, put them in a Zia Hub, and we are asking Zia to generate a BRD, a business requirements document. Now, once you have the BRD, now we are taking it one step further. We are integrating that BRD in Zoho projects. So, meaning we are taking the BRD document that Zia has generated from all of those audio files, and we are providing the option to add it to Zia in projects. So it takes that business requirements documents, and based on the requirements, it automatically tries to create a project. A project is created, tasks are created, and all of this are automatically generated for you. That's, again, the goal here with AI is to elevate your productivity. So if you can be 20%, 30% more productive, then that will be mission accomplished. Over a period of time, you may see a series of these 20% here, 20% there accumulate together. That's where the productivity will go to multiples rather than percentages. And as Tony said, we are still in the early stages of this, but what we are focusing on is to boost your productivity in each of these areas so that you as a user gets more value out of the tools that you're using and makes you more productive. The same way, we are doing it in CRM too. We recently launched something called CRM for Everyone as a preview, and starting today, CRM for Everyone is available to everyone. And the concept is simple. Historically, CRM was rationed, partly because the pricing was high. It's not just the sales team that needs customer data. There are other members within an organization that needs customer data. Your finance team needs customer data, particularly to accept payments. Your support team needs customer data. Your legal team may need customer data to review some contracts. But the kind of information needed by each of these teams is slightly different. So we said, why can't we create a set of features so that everyone in an organization that needs access to that piece of information, customer information, that is unique to them, can we create a CRM that is optimized for it? And that's what we did with CRM for Everyone. And we also priced it that way. So we have an aggressive pricing for those. But as we started rolling out, we have noticed a lot of people were using CRM to access the customer data, and their requirements kept on piling up. And they say, hey, we want to make it even further, even easier to extend the CRM for their own use. That is where AI can come in as well, where we are bringing in a few aspects of AI into CRM, making it easy for them to extend the capabilities of CRM. And as several people within the organization use them, they may want to customize the CRM. They may want to design it for their own use. How do they do that? Well, I want to show you a quick example on something like this. Let's say here, this is CRM for Everyone. You see various modules. If you are each of these teams, you can go to the respective section, and you'll see the modules that are relevant to you. In this case, let's say I'm into legal. I'm part of the legal team, and I have a lot of modules that were pre-shared. But then my focus is on reviewing contracts, but I don't see a contracts module. What if I want to create a contracts module? It's actually fairly simple. You go to settings and go to the modules and fields section, and now you have a new option called create modules using Zia. Now, let's try to do it live. Let's say I want to create a contracts module where I can upload contracts and associate them to deals. Now, let's see if Zia recognizes this concept and see if it can help me create a contracts module. Historically, what creating a module meant dragging various fields, creating everything from scratch, naming and all of those. But if Zia can help boost that productivity, make it easy, gives you a jump start, then that's a productivity boost. In this case, Zia created a module, called it a contracts. It has a few fields here, the contracts name, contracts owner, contracts ID. These are all the standard ones. But as you can imagine, I said I want the option to upload a contract. I click on it, and it has the details. And note that it also brought in the permission structure in place where you can decide who can read, who can write, all of these as well. You can change all of these factors. And note that I told Zia that I want to link it to a deal. So it created a lookup field to associate that to a deal as well. Once that is done, now I say create, and that basically creates a module. Now I can go back to CRM, see the contracts module created, and now I create a contract. This is how quickly it is to create modules out there. Now, thank you. Sometimes, CRM systems historically, obviously, have been the systems of record. You can't blame them for being too pretty. So you may want your designers to come in and say, hey, I want to design something. I want a different view. What if you want to do that? That is where we introduced Canvas earlier. Canvas enables you to create some custom designs. In this case, this is a custom design that was created with Canvas. Instead of a standard boring view without any images, you can use Canvas to design your thing. But what if I want to create my own design? What if my designer gave me a design and I want to apply that here? We are introducing something new here where I can create a new view. In this case, I have a list of vehicles, and I'm going to ask Zia, I'm going to take Zia's help to design something. So here, I'm browsing a file. Let's look for a simple design file here. This is a design I got from my designer. I want the vehicle listing to be this way. So I select the design, and I can crop it, edit it. If I don't want any of these images, I can remove it. But for now, let's keep this one. And this is the design, which is an image, I get it. And then I import it. What Zia does is tries to convert that image into a design that you can edit. This is what Zia did. It imported that image. Now it broke it up into individual chunks. And each of these are editable. But then this is just image that is associated, that is brought in. What does it have to do with CRM? Well, you should be able to associate these with the fields within the CRM too. How do you do that? Well, you can take Zia's help too, where you can let Zia associate the fields because it knows the context. It knows that you are in the CRM, you are in the vehicles module, and tries to do the association. And it has already done the association here. Now, in this case, I can say show all labels, and I notice that it has associated a few things. This is the year, this is the vehicle make, and all of that. Now, if I want to change something, tweak something, I can do that. So in my case, instead of the tech, if I want to change the field to some other field in your CRM, you can always change the field. And here I say, maybe I want the vehicle model here, and I include that. And maybe I can design it here. So for This particular field, I'll expand it a little more and maybe make it bold, probably. Yeah, let's make it bold. Let's give it a flashy color and see how it looks. Now, let's preview it. Quickly, this is how your design looks. Give it a name, My New Vehicle Design, save it, and you have a new design applied to CRM right away. What you're seeing is a simple image to design creation process. You don't have to be a designer. Zia helps you take a simple image, import it, and it does most of the work. You just need to tweak it and give it some direction out there. These are a couple of examples on how Zia can contextually help you with several things out there. So, unlike other vendors, all the things that you see here are available for free in your existing subscription. As I said earlier, and as Tony mentioned, we deliver value. We are not in the nickel and dime business, and we are including most of these AI features, in your existing subscription. So now that we looked at Zia, let's look at Ask Zia. What's the difference? What is Zia versus Ask Zia? Zia automatically and contextually is built in, while Ask Zia is used when you want to interact with it, when you want to ask Zia some questions. It's an interactive Zoho agent to assist you. So if you want something to be done, you can ask Zia to do it. So how do we, let's take a look at it. Let's go back to the same CRM example and maybe ask Zia a few things. We talked about Zia helping you design and create a module. But as a user, you want to do more with it. Let's say you want to create a workflow. In that case, you can ask Zia. So Ask Zia can perform actions. Let's give it a try. Let's say I want to create a workflow. And maybe I'll say, send me an email notification whenever a deal is closed whose value is greater than, say, 50,000. Let's see what Zia does. Zia analyzes it. As you see it, notice that I'm talking about the deals module. It is detected that module, and the trigger is a deal is closed, and his value is 50K. It recognizes it. It is configuring the action, and it says it is configured and finalizing the workflow, and the workflow is named, and it gives it a name. You want to verify it? Click on this, and you'll see the workflow. And this is the workflow Zia automatically created. Simple, powerful. And note that it did not activate it automatically. You, as a human, has to verify it, and you activate it. In fact, there are other capabilities that are embedded too. Here, I'm sending an email notification. In fact, you can also ask Zia to suggest when to send that email. And there are a lot of intelligence that goes into it as well, because the target or the destination who you're sending it to might be in a different time zone. And Zia uses its intelligence to automatically schedule that email based on that as well. So that is also integrated into Zia. So that's a simple way where you can create a workflow with Zia. What other things can Zia do, Ask Zia do? Well, let's give it another try. Let's say this time, let's create a report. I want to create a report. Let's create a report of all the vehicles sold whose value is greater than, say, maybe 40,000, right? Let's see if it works. Again, AI, never know. But let's see what Zia is doing. In this case, it's analyzing my question, and it started a session. I'm not touching the screen here. Zia started a session, selecting the module, selecting the appropriate things to do. So it selected the AI vehicles module. Let's see what it does. It's continuing. It's going to the columns, selecting the appropriate columns. Let's see. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And it's configuring a filter. It's adding a filter, unit price is greater than 40K, and it's giving it, let's see if it'll give it a name. It's giving it a name. Now let me take control here. Look what I did. I'm taking control from Zia. Now instead, I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it vehicle report. Maybe I'll call it, maybe luxury vehicle report, whatever. Because I don't know what it'll name, but I want to define what that name is. Now I'll say, okay, why don't you continue? So I'm going to ask Zia to continue and let it create that report for me. It takes it up, goes to the appropriate folder, and then creates the appropriate report. And so let's see, yeah, it did, and that's it. It created a report. Want to see what it created? Go to the link. This is the report it created, where the value is greater than a certain amount, and it automatically obtained that for me. A simple way to create that report. All of this technology hosted within Zoho, and it's available now for you to play with in your account, of course, for free. Now, imagine this technology applied to various use cases. I think that is where it gets very interesting. When Zia can do for you, what Zia can do for you varies based on the context. Now, next time, imagine the same technology in the context of onboarding, where if new employee doesn't know what to do, well, you can ask Zia to teach the employee. And not every application has an API. Whenever there is no API, Zia can do it for you, navigating the UI. So we are developing this technology, going deep, and it is going to be integrated across various applications. But this is Zia in the context of CRM. That is, you're asking Zia to do something. You can ask other things too. And Tony talked about the analytics system and the search system. We have been investing in Zia Search for a while, and all of those come together, and you can interact with Zia in several ways. Let's look at another example. Here, I'm in mail. You can be anywhere. I'm in mail. I'm asking Zia. I have asked Zia embedded here. I can ask Zia anything. So maybe let's start something. What are the important things I should know since my vacation? You come back from vacation, you have no idea what changed, what to prioritize. You have a bunch of emails sitting around, some documents to sign, some require your approval. Can Zia help you with that? That's an option, where you need a system that connects to multiple subsystems, multiple applications across the board, looks at all of that data, analyzes it, and understands what is important, and it should give you a summary of it. And here, let's see what I came up with. Here's a digest of important updates. Urgent action needed. Some email needs my approval. In this case, I have some high priority open tickets. I have some tasks. And so some issue with FilePick are currently pending. And then there are some communication updates. There are some support tickets. So I can dig into any of these. So in this case, for example, there are 5 tasks pending for FilePick. Let's say, give me more details about FilePick. So let's see what it does. In this case, you're basically asking some details about FilePick and what you can understand, and later you can dig into it. And obviously, Zia should understand that FilePick is a customer. Based on that, it may link me to CRM. It may aggregate the information and give me a summary. All of this is dynamic. So what is done is, in this case, Zia got me information about there are few tasks pending in Zoho projects, some support tickets from desk, there are some deals that are currently working in the works in CRM, and there are some recent emails as well, and there are some upcoming events. all of that data aggregated, pulled together, and displayed to you. Now I know that there are some issues that needs my attention. Maybe I want to get a little more understanding on any existing deals or with FinePick. So maybe I'll say, hey, what is the revenue from FinePick? Maybe create a chart for me, maybe split by deal stage. Let's see if it'll work. So I'm asking Zia to get me some revenue information. In that case, it gathers the appropriate information from the appropriate source, and it dynamically created this. This is a dynamic chart that is created right now. And of course, I can maybe choose to change the chart type and pick a different one. Or if I'm too lazy, I can say, give me a pie chart instead. Let's see. And again, the same query, it goes back, creates a pie chart, and gives you that information. Now, I've been dealing with FinePick earlier. I've interacted with them earlier. Now, let me go back and say, who are the contacts in FinePick? So in this case, these are the people that are associated with the company or FinePick, and I want to see their information. And it pulls up some information, and I can look at any of their profile. In this case, it is taking me to the CRM because that particular person is in CRM. At any point of time, I can click here and go to CRM and go to the details about that particular user as well. Those details are deeply linked. Now here, I have 3 different users, and I have a summary of it. But I don't want just this piece of information. What if I want more info? Well, maybe I can ask Zia to generate a dashboard dynamically for this particular user. So Zia is dynamically creating a dashboard for me where it gets me open tasks from projects, upcoming events, all the email interactions from Zoho Mail, any upcoming events that are scheduled in calendar, related bugs, any tickets that they have raised by this particular user. A dashboard is dynamically created, and it generated an insights for me that is very, very specific to me, all dynamically created with a simple click. So that's one. Now, what if I say, OK, I know my contacts. What if I want to get some details about the tickets? Show me the tickets from FinePick. Now, obviously, it has to understand that tickets means desk tickets. It could be backstage tickets for events, but it has to understand the context. In this case, it understands the context. It got 33 tickets. Maybe that's probably too many here to go through. But I can ask it to give me just a high priority tickets too, and it'll get me just the high priority open tickets. At any point, I can click on the preview of this. I can change the owner of the ticket. I can launch it in a new window where it'll directly take me to desk and dig into it. Now, I looked at the tickets. Now I want to do something with it. I want to meet them. Say, are there any meetings scheduled with FinePick? Now, in this case, it'll basically go and fetch if there are any meetings. It'll go to Zoho Calendar and try to get those, or it could be in CRM. If they're in both places, it brings it, aggregates it, and gives you the meeting information. In this case, it's from CRM. It happened, the meeting happened this week, maybe, and it also provides a summary of it. What if I want to create an event? Say, create an event with all contacts in FinePick for, say, next Monday at 10 a.m. So I can ask Zia to take actions as well. In this case, Zia is analyzing that request, and it understands, and it basically created this event. It understands that there are several people involved, and I can edit it, I can add additional people, and then create an event. And if I'm traveling, I can say, hey, send an email to my travel desk to say, arrange my travel and basically say, I prefer to stay at a particular location. I'll call it Marriott. So give it a name, all the details are provided, and it creates a simple email, and you can send it off. But the idea here is simple. Zia is your assistant. Zia can boost your productivity. And Ask Zia is a way to interact with Zia to make sure that you boost your productivity. And that is Ask Zia. Now, each of these innovations that you see that enable several possibilities, given the range of applications we have, it opens up a ton of possibilities. We see thousands of use cases here, and all of those are going to be added to the Zoho system, and that is what we have been working on. So Ask Zia will be contextually embedded across various Zoho applications. And in this case, you have seen it embedded within Zoho Mail. You can access it from Zia Search as well, search.zoho.com, and others. Now let's shift to the third aspect of Zoho, Zia agents. Agents are bots, but with reasoning skills and the ability to do things. You put it that way. And the reasoning skills are important. Those are typically powered by LLMs. And agents have certain tools so that they can do things. So obviously, the hype is really ahead of reality here. Not every bot is an agent. Not every agent is useful. In our case, our focus has been on a certain things. Today, if you look at the agent market, the way I would phrase it is good from far. They most look good, but it's far from good when it comes to practicality. And we are focusing on pragmatic agents and agents that we can use on a daily basis. So let's take an email. How many of you in the room have zero inbox, 100 emails? No. Congratulations, we have one person here, right? Well, sometimes you may want to maybe a little help, and we are rolling out a cleanup agent. So I'm going to show you how some of the cleanup agent works, where you can, in Mail, you can go to a cleanup agent and takes Zia's help to cleaning up some emails, especially if it has taken up a good chunk of your inbox and you want some help with cleaning those heavy emails up. And you can ask Zia to suggest you which mailbox are taking up, which mails and from whom they are taking up a good amount of your storage. You can look at those options, and Zia can help you identify those, and then you can choose to delete them, keep them, archive them, all of those. So like that, you can also take Zia's help to set up some automatic rules, and Zia can do it. Like, for example, if you keep receiving newsletters, maybe you can set up a rule that says, I want to delete all the newsletters that are over than a year. Things like that. So Zia can help you with several things when it comes to newsletters. But there are other aspects Zia can be very helpful, other kinds of agents we are working on. Let me show maybe another agent or so. So let's go back to one of these emails. We are working on security. And the important agent that we're working on, we call it threat mitigation agents. Very often, we receive malware in our emails. Not every threat is identified because the signatures are published late or whatever. Sometimes some of those go through. When they go through, Zia may detect that, hey, there is a malware that went through, you may want to look into it. So we have created a threat mitigation agent in the context of email that automatically sends out an email. So in this case, a Zia security system has identified a zero-hour threat, and it sends details, an email to the administrators. Now I can zoom in, look into the incident details, and this is where the ZIA agent comes in, and it gives you the details of it. In this case, it says the email was delivered, the ZIA agent identified a risk, and then they notified the super admin. And it also gets you the details on the users that received the email with that particular malware. And there are some users that reported that it could be malware. But then there are some users that automatically downloaded that malware. And now ZIA will tell the administrators what to do and some recommendations. In fact, it can go one step further, and it also gives you suggestions on where you can create a security rule. Security rule saying that, hey, any email that is received from this particular email address or IP address, you may want to block it. Or you may want to send out a warning email as well, because it recognizes that there are 3 people who already received that particular email. It can auto-generate a warning email and identify those people and say, in this case, these are 3 affected users. I'm going to send this email. It composed the email for me. I can simply send that, and so that those users are aware of that threatware. Now, there's more to it, but you can, in fact, go to the security dashboard. We call it the SOC dashboard, where you see several threats that are neutralized. There are details about the incidents, and of course, the ongoing fight with the malwares and phishing challenges with that when it comes to email are all automatically logged. And this is part of Zoho Mail, and ZIA integrates into that as well. Again, a simple agent, but powerful agent when it comes to the security side. That is a threat mitigation agent. That's another agent we are working on. Another third agent probably we can look at is, let's say, a meeting agent. Now, every day we get into meetings, and there's a lot of information that ZIA can help you. In this case, I have a meeting scheduled, and this is to discuss some partnership. And this, I receive a meeting invite, and I want ZIA's help, see if it can get me more information about it. And if I enable ZIA agent here on the side, ZIA agent analyzes this information and automatically gives me a summary of it. In this case, it is related to that sponsorship. It got information on who the attendees are, but more importantly, it got information from a support ticket, and they probably attached some kind of a document there that had information. But for my convenience, it obtained the sponsorship levels, sponsorship benefits, and gave me a summary of what that meeting is about. In fact, I can go to the ticket number, and it'll take me, in this case, it'll take me to desk, where it has some sponsorship information. Somewhere in there, there is an attachment that has details about the sponsorship. A simple way to help with your meetings. In fact, meeting agent can help you before the meeting, during the meeting, and also after the meeting. So before the meeting, it basically prepares you for that meeting. Just like we looked at the Ask ZIA as well. You can also ask ZIA to prepare you for this meeting, or you can ask your meeting agent to prepare you for this meeting as well. So I can look at, let's say, a different meeting here. I have, let's say, car lease consultation, or I can look at maybe a follow-up meeting. In each of these cases, let's pick a different one. I'm revising agreements. Now, in this case, this is with a customer. I ask the meeting agent, and the meeting agent automatically summarizes that meeting. In this case, these are certain attendees that are going to be part of meeting. And then this is regarding the sales and service agreement. And I get the details, the payment terms, details obtained from that particular document. If the meeting is with a customer, it'll be a different details. And if it is related to project, then you can automatically look at the project from where it looks like this is an expired meeting. And I can look at some of the projects and go back in there and look at that project details. And if it is related to, let's say, a CRM, then you have the CRM details obtained and contextually presented. So the meeting details are obtained contextually, and the meeting agent helps you prepare for the meeting. During the meeting, it's a little tricky to start a meeting here live, but during a meeting agent takes notes for you, creates the actions, and it listens to it, and it can help you with various things. And of course, there are a lot of other AI technology embedded in our meeting applications, like echo cancellation and whatnot. Now, after the meeting, Zia automatically sends out meeting notes as well. In fact, so in this case, to the host receives the meeting notes from Zia. So in this case, from this particular agent, it gives me a minutes of the meeting with a summary agenda, the discussed points, and all of those as well. In fact, I can even ask Zia to summarize that email, which is available pretty much in all emails. So the summary of the meeting being summarized here. Now, if you want to get more details of this meeting, you can take a note of those. Click on that note, and then in this case, it's an audio meeting. An audio meeting that has details about the meeting, but more importantly, the meeting notes are conveniently provided here. And as you see, there are also timestamps here. When I click on this particular timestamp, it takes me to that particular portion of that particular meeting time and highlights that. You can always go take a look at the timestamp and see the entire transcript, including the timestamp. Clicking on the timestamp takes you to the appropriate location. Or you can even ask Zia to summarize the entire transcript, and it gives you a good summary of that instead of having to read through the entire thing. And not everyone, at least me, is into reading long pieces of text. Some of us are very visual. What if you want a visual representation of the meeting itself? So Zia can help you create a mind map for this meeting as well. You click on the meeting, and Zia creates a mind map. Now, these are the topics that were discussed, and move here, I want to focus on what are the decisions that are made, and in this case, looks like there is some kind of clear assignment of action items. I can click on it, and then Zia automatically generates the details of that particular action item for that particular topic that you selected. And then it is a clear, in this case, these are the discussion points. It gives you a summary of all of those. If I want to talk about a different topic, I can go to some of the discussed points, any of these here, and then I want to focus on launch readiness, and then Zia will get you a summary on what was discussed for launch readiness in the context of that particular meeting. And this capability, except the mind maps, is live starting today. Mind maps is going to be rolled out fairly soon. And if you use Zoho Meeting, in fact, you can go to Zoho Meeting, your list of meetings, go to your past meetings, and you'll see a notes section very soon. Once you click on those notes, you will see the same functionality available, and you can launch or open these in a meeting, and you'll see the same details, mind map, all of those will work as well. Again, this is a meeting agent in that context. But you get the idea. Most of these agents that we are working on are the ones that are practical, that we can use on a daily basis. And that has been our focus here. And Zoho is going to have several pre-built agents as well. Like, wouldn't it be good to have an agent that can help you with your RFPs and, more importantly, expenses, right? And similarly, on the HR side, you want an agent that can help you do some background checks, a legal assistant that summarizes those lengthy contracts. There are a ton of use cases out there. There are tens of agents that we plan to roll out fairly soon, sometime this year, and there are going to be more and more agents that will come as well. So, but then these are the agents that Zoho is launching. What if you want to create your own agent? That's where Zoho can help there as well. And we're going to be launching Zoho Agent Studio. Agent Studio is a low-code, no-code app that can help you create agents. And it is a multi-agent platform, meaning once you create an agent, that agent can work with several other agents, and you benefit from agent collaboration. The agent is as powerful as the skills it has, the flexibility of LLMs it has, or the tools it has at its disposal. At Zoho, we have a wide range of tools available. Of course, there are APIs. Of course, there are tools like Zoho Flow that connects with hundreds of third-party vendors. There are tools like RPA, robotic process automation, that is available as a tool for agents disposal, and Catalyst and several other services where you can execute some custom functions within the Zoho platform. All those tools are available for agents' use, and you can use that to create your own custom agent for your business. An agent can be powerful based on the LLM we use, and for that, we also built what we call as AI Bridge, where if you want to use a third-party LLM, we integrate with several third-party LLMs as well. And Zoho also has hosted several LLMs, and those are available for you to use as well. Eventually, we'll enable you to bring your own LLM down the lane as well. But that AI bridge makes it possible. So once you have the AI bridge there, and once you create an agent, some agents can be deployed as digital employees. There are advantages to this, partly because our systems are designed and optimized to put governance in place for employees. Now, if you put agents and deploy agents as a digital employee, the same governance can be applied to agents as well. And because we do Zoho Directory, we are able to deploy some of these agents as employees with the permissions structure and the system that you already have in place within the applications as well. So let's quickly look at how to create an agent. This is the early version of Zia agent. If I want to create an agent, well, again, you ask Zia. You can create it manually and make it, but when you have Zia, why not go with it? In this case, I'll say, okay, I want to create an SDR agent to qualify my leads. That's not enough description. Let's see what it says. So I want to create an SDR agent. And now Zia says, to create SDR agent, what specific actions do you want to perform? Update lead status, create meetings, or send emails? Yeah, I think I actually want all of those. Yes, I want it to update, create meetings, send emails, and yeah, let's start there. So now in this case, I'm providing some details on the capabilities, keeping it simple for this demo. Now, this is what Zia did. Zia created an SDR agent, and then it took the instructions for me. In this case, it went with the Zia LLM. We have maybe, you can use third party as well. That is the Zia bridge AI bridge I was talking about. It's configured a few actions. Pretty much it's calling some of the API calls here. You can add your own actions as needed. You can add some RAG that is knowledge base to it, and you can simply create an agent. And that's it. That's how easy it is to create an agent. But creating an agent is only one part. What if you want to deploy it? Well, that's where the deployment comes in, where you can choose to deploy an agent here. And in this case, deployment is similar to how you deploy a person. In this case, do you want to provide agent access to your CRM system? And you want to enable permissions for the agent to create an email. Once you enable those permissions, and looks like I do not have the admin permissions to do it, so, so I can't deploy it. But the idea here is to deploy an agent just like you would provision a person, and provide the same roles and permissions, just like you would deploy a person in your CRM system. And now once an agent is created, you can also give an agent an email address, which it will create by itself, and now you deploy it. Once you deploy it, you can automatically create a workflow, just like we have seen earlier. You can create a workflow to automatically assign new incoming leads to that agent, let that agent qualify, and then the qualified leads are assigned to the account executive. That flow can be done. And of course, the agent is as good as as the tools you provide and how detailed you get there. So we are also going to be rolling out Agent Marketplace, where you will see several of the agents that are created by Zoho, Zoho's partners in the ecosystem, and you can choose to publish your agents as well into the marketplace so that others can benefit as well. Those are the three things about Zia, Ask Zia, and Zia agents. One note is today, the AI market, certainly on the AI side, AI is token hungry. They need a lot of tokens, and tokens are GPU hungry, and GPUs are power hungry, and they're not just hungry, they're also thirsty, as Tony mentioned, and that's why vendors seem to be wallet hungry. We have to take a long-term approach to offer all these capabilities and include it as part of your existing subscription. That is a value play, and that is the long-term approach to AI, and we are focusing on delivering value and doing it the right way, and that is the approach to AI. Now, let's get to the second section. Are you tired yet? We'll keep this short. We have 3 new additions in terms of applications. The first one, ULA, is now available for enterprise. For those of you who are not familiar with ULA, ULA is our browser. A browser that focuses on security, privacy, and productivity. Today, most of the browsers we use in business, they aren't business ready. These are consumer browsers. They have tracking enabled. They are optimized to serve you ads. I say that because every browser company has an ad business model. What do you think they are doing? Tracking you is part of their business model. So they are not incentivized to give you a private, secure working environment because their business model does not permit it. So, and as a result, browsers have large surface that can be attacked. Now, what we are doing is launching an ULA Enterprise. It is a browser that is optimized for businesses with a lot of protections that you would expect in a business. As a business, you may want to set up some policies. Well, ULA can help you with that. We can help you with DLP, that is data leak prevention. Very often, you'll see somebody taking a screenshot of your confidential data and leaking it. Unfortunately, that happens all the time. Well, with ULA, you can prevent that. Or another example, you'll be surprised how often websites try to access what's in your clipboard, even though it has nothing to do with whatever you have in your clipboard. They simply request access, and they paste it and use that information in whatever purposes. You may have copied your credit card number or social security number for some purpose, and it may be in your clipboard, but next time you visit your browser, it is likely that information already went to that particular website. How can you be protected from that? Well, ULA Enterprise can help you restrict those as well. So there are things like that we have added in ULA where you can set up some policies that can stop it. So with ULA Enterprise, it has an option to provision ULA to your organization. You can manage various users and their devices. And in this case, I have 25 devices that are enrolled, and I can go to the policies. I can specify policies and say, I want to restrict downloads, I want to restrict clipboards, or you can even restrict clipboard access to certain groups within your company. Maybe the finance and legal, more sensitive, I want to disable copy-paste for a particular set of websites. You can stop screen capture restrictions or add watermarks to a certain set of users when they visit a certain set of websites and all of those. So there are a lot of privacy capabilities that we have added to ULA as well. In fact, like the data leak prevention is one, but we have added site restrictions. We have added extension management where you can restrict some rough extensions that you do not want your employees to install. Managing bookmarks. Oftentimes, there are bookmarks that you want to push automatically to your employees so that they don't come asking what is the link for your intranet and whatnot. You can automatically push those bookmarks. And there is a central policy area where you can configure all of these. And of course, as you can expect, we are going to include Zia into ULA as well. So I can ask Zia to help me with whatever in there. I can make some requests. I can say, what can you help with? And Zia will give you a few things. And Zia is gaining more and more skills as we speak. Currently, let's say, it can mute tabs. Very often we see some random video playing somewhere and you don't know what tab it is in, and you can just say, hey, mute all tabs. And ULA can quickly help you with that. Or I can say, so in this case, it looks like it did it for this particular tab. I don't have many tabs open. I can say group all my Zoho tabs. I'm sure if you're like me, you have several Zoho tabs open, and it automatically creates a group. And there are several other things ULA can help you with. But AI integrated into ULA, and there is more out there. That's ULA Enterprise launching. The second product we're launching is on the finance side. And to talk more about it, I would like to invite my colleague, Siva, who will provide you an idea about a finance product.
Thanks, Raju. Good morning, everyone. I can promise you that this is going to be a short break from Zia and AI. I think that's a welcome break. And before I start my session, before I get into the announcement part, let me just set the context. So we started working on this finance and operations suite about 17 years ago. Obviously, we started small. In fact, we started with a 2-member team, very small team with limited resources. And though we started small, the goal was very clear to us. We wanted to build a comprehensive finance and operations suite that is in-depth in functionalities and that can actually solve the customer problems end-to-end. So with this goal, we started, and this is the first domain that we focused on. So we started by focusing on billing. Today, I'm happy to say that we have a comprehensive set of products in billing, serving customers across all segments. In fact, we launched the enterprise edition of billing, and we have really, really large customers using this product. In fact, I remember one of our largest customers sends about 20 million invoices a year. And then we have the payables module. So we started with expense, now with travel, procurement, AP automation, cards, and all those. This is fast maturing into a full-fledged spend management suite. Then we have accounting and tax. We have our flagship product, Zoho Books there, which there are about 14 different country-specific editions, where actually the customers not only manage their accounting, but also can actually do all the way up to filing of their tax returns. Happy to say that in some of the countries that we play in, Zoho Books is fast becoming the standard in accounting software. Then we have inventory. Again, due to the lack of time, I'm not getting into the details of all this. Then we have inventory management, where actually we have order management, fulfillment, shipping, all that. Then commerce. Again, we help our customers on the commerce front as well. So we have Zoho Commerce to help on the online commerce. Then we have POS to manage the offline retail, and the marketplace to help you sell your products across all the channels. We recently launched Payroll, the US edition of Payroll. This is actually seeing excellent traction. So one thing that we see is we have built a comprehensive suite, but as the products evolved, one thing that we realized is these products actually interface a lot with the banking or the financial services system. So one is actually to build the suite. And next is to see like what are the next things that we have to do. So modern day finance should not only focus on these suite of products, but it should also focus on bringing these two together, the financial services and the business finance. So what we realized is, earlier, these systems actually used to operate in complete silos, be it the banking or the financial services and the business finance. So this actually caused a lot of pain points for our customers, like be it downloading the statement, be it reconciliation and all those things. So we felt like bringing it together can actually solve a lot of problems. And that is what we felt the modern day finance should focus on. So we made our attempt a few years ago. So we actually brought in this concept of connected banking, where we actually integrated with a lot of banks. We integrated with the banks, and we helped automate a lot of stuff. And again, this concept might not be new for a lot of you here. Again, but the point is, it's not just about connecting to a bank and doing some superficial things. So we actually went all the way, and we tried to embed banking into the business finance, and also the other way, that is embed business finance into banking. So what I mean by that is, like, you will be able to do most of your banking functions right from your business finance software. This is what we tried, right from your making payments to your vendor, adding a beneficiary to whatnot. And we also had some of the major banks which actually went ahead and integrated our product within their net banking suite. So a lot of things, like, say, for example, sending out an invoice can actually be done from the business finance itself. So it's not just about developing a pipe, that is, having a pipe between these two systems. Our intention was actually to bring these two together, and that is what this announcement is going to be. And any guesses? Yeah, so the hint is like our PR team has done a very good job. So you just, so the news was out early today, and we are launching our own payment products. So this is Zoho's own payment gateway. So the team has been hard at work for the last several years. So we are not just doing a high-level job. We are actually getting deep into payments, and we are deeply integrating this with the business finance suite that we already have, the finance and operations system we already have. And the best part is, like, though we are launching the product today, we have given early access a few months ago to our customers. And I would say, like, this is one of the very few products which has several thousand customers. In fact, we have about 5,000 active customers using the product already. And there are millions of dollars in transaction value that flows through the product every month, several millions. So again, payments can actually mean different thing to different people. So just to define what we do, we actually help businesses accept payments from their customers, different payment methods. You can bring in all the complexity. So at a very high level, this is what the product does. So the definition is very deceptively simple. Under the hood, we do a lot of heavy lifting, right from doing a KYC, KYB to the business, identity verification, AML, sanction screening, complying with the various compliance and rules set forth by the card networks, by the banks, by the sponsoring banks, and all those things. Fraud, again, I'm not getting into all those details, but the point is, we do a lot of heavy lifting in the background. And what sets us apart? Why should we actually be launching this product? So this is where I said, like, we will be able to solve a lot of problems by bringing the financial services and the business finance together. So that's our vision. So what are the things that we think we can do better? First, the payment success rate. With better AI models, working closely with the issuers, we actually feel we can actually bring in a better success rate. Again, we have been into business for a very long time. With the data that we have, we can actually complement this data or supplement this data with the payments, and we will be able to reduce the risk and fraud. faster settlements. We know our customers better. So any customer who has been with us long, we know like wherever there is a reduced risk in settlement, we can actually do faster settlements, maybe the same day settlement or maybe immediate settlements. And this payment product, this payment capability is going to be natively integrated with various Zoho products. Obviously, we have a lot of use cases for accepting payments across the Zoho products, not specifically in the finance and operations feed, but also in products like, say, bookings, CRM, and a whole lot of products. So this is going to be natively embedded. That actually will bring in a lot of value. And obviously, we will be supporting all kind of payment workflows, be it sending a payment link for accepting payments, sending out invoices, or sending recurring payments, or having a hosted page, or maybe developing a checkout to facilitate payment through e-commerce. So we'll be doing it end-to-end. Our goal is simple. We want to simplify payments for our customers, empower them with a lot of insights, and enable them to offer a seamless experience to their customers, thereby positively impacting both their top and bottom line. As always is the case with Zoho, this is just the beginning. So payments is the first product that we are launching in this financial services segment. So stay tuned for a lot more new products and updates. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Siva. I know we are running out of time. Quick 2 more minutes. We have one other addition to the product line, point of sale system. And this is one of those systems where if you have a retail store, you want a point of sale system, and we're going to be entering this market. And this is something we have been working for a while, and it is now available in the US as a preview. So please feel free to access this. And it comes with counter billing, mobile billing, and various other capabilities. And more importantly, it is integrated with our back office system, with our commerce, books, expense, payroll, and more, with Begin and other integrations coming soon. So to manage your entire store operations, this is a good product to look at. So you can access that through Zakya, zakya.com, starting today. So those are the 3 additions in terms of the applications. So I hope you get a high-level idea on some of the things we are doing on the AI front, as well as the app front. And certainly, as a company, we move at a fast pace. You see that with the range of products and the technology we have been developing. And we'll make sure that we keep you ahead in technology as well. With that, I want to thank you, and we'll see you around.
Thank you so much, Raju. We went a little into the break, but I think that's fair for all the AI stuff that we're giving you for free. So, 3 minutes of your break, I think, was probably worth it, right? Big round of applause again for Raju and the speakers in the morning here. We are on a 20-minute break, so 15-minute break. So we'll start again at 11:20. As you know, there's only a couple doors, so try to get back early, and we'll hear from Vijay Sundaram. Thank you so much. We'll see you in 15 minutes.
Zoho has helped us streamline our accounting and financial system in our transportation business. Zoho Books has made it easy and simple for us to run reports and get the data we need. In 2014 is when I started the company, Keystone Transport and Keystone Designer Furniture at the same time. Had an opportunity to sell the business in 2020. 2 years ago, we started a truck shop to do our own repair, opened that up to the public. For accounting and Keystone Transport, we started out with QuickBooks Desktop. My wife does most of the accounting, and she's constantly complaining about how hard it is to use QuickBooks online. And I used it too myself, and it's just not intuitive. And one of my good friends had a furniture store. He was telling me what Zoho was doing for them and their business, their store business. So I did some research, and I chose Zoho Books. Zoho Books has reduced our manual accounting tasks. Upgrading from QuickBooks Desktop into Zoho Books was very seamless. So I've never seen an accounting software that had such a great full-featured mobile app. I can do on my phone almost what I can do inside on the desktop. And I had a customer call me the other day and needed an invoice sent out. I just pull it up, bang, 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 3 clicks, and it's all out. I can look at my financials on the fly. I can look at my AR on the fly. We were pretty excited to go into Zoho Books because QuickBooks Desktop didn't have some of the functionalities we wanted. Ease of integration with other systems was one, especially in payroll. We wanted to integrate our payroll, make it seamlessly. She was spending too much time on the typing data into QuickBooks Desktop, which we did upload into Zoho Books. The support has been outstanding, but it's so easy to use. If I'm on the desktop, I can just click chat, ask a question, usually a couple minutes, I'm up and running again. With QuickBooks Desktop, we didn't have that kind of support. I'd recommend Zoho Books to other transport companies.
All righty, everybody, welcome back. How are you doing? So mixed results. I get it. We're in for a nice long 2 days. We're going to learn a lot. It's going to be really good. I'm really excited to meet all of you. I want to repeat again that we have our Experience Center in the Expo Hall. There are a ton of product people that are there eager to help you. I'm also going to really advise you to sign up for a one-on-one because that's a really great thing to be doing as well. So before we bring on Vijay, I again want to just ask you, now that you have a time to sit down, get ready, are you ready for the next session? So with that, we're going to hear about our customer approach from our Chief Strategy Officer, the one, the only, Vijay Sundaram. Let's go. Big round of applause for Vijay. Bigger, he deserves it.
Thank you. Yeah, each one of us, 8 billion people on this planet, are very unique, aren't we? There's nobody else like us, by definition. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thanks for coming out here. I can see some of you rolling back in, and I'm happy to be here and take on the next session with you. So I'm going to talk about share with you what we call our customer approach. My name is Vijay Sundaram. I'm part of the leadership team at Zoho. And I've been doing some sort of a keynote now for several years for Zoho events, sometimes across the world. And after looking at Raju's presentation that went just before me, I think my job is going to go. So I think next year we're going to have a bot or whatever he wants to call it, an agent, not a bot, right? That's going to be here talking, and I'm going to be sitting at the back eating my donut. Okay, so this is the last time you get to see me, so applaud well at the end of it. Okay, let's move along. A lot of the next 2 days, you're going to learn a lot about our products. You're going to learn a lot about our people. You're going to mingle with our people. You're going to learn from other customers. You're going to meet some of our partners. That's what's ahead of you, especially for those of you who've come here for the first time. You're going to get more products into you than maybe you're even ready for. So what I'm going to do is depart from that. So I'm one of the last points here where you're going to not hear about the product, but hear something a bit more about our philosophy or our approach to why and how we do things. So I'm going to start with what people tend to know about Zoho. Some of you know this, but I'll start with that and then move forward from there. So most of you know that we've been around. I'm going to share a little snapshot with you. And some of you know this, but I'll go left to right. We've been around for almost 3 decades. That's about 100 years in the insurance business. Right? So it's a long time, 3 decades. We've got almost 18,000 employees across the world. We keep telling you every year how many apps we add. Shiva came in just before me and threw 4 more into the pile. So I never put the number there, I just say something plus. All right? And we're in almost any country you can think of. We operate all across the world. We have 120 million individual users of our product. We are a freemium company, so that includes free users as well as people who pay for our services. We have almost 1 million companies or customers who do business with us. That's an enviable number. I want to thank you all for it, because that's what keeps us alive and keeps us in business. Give yourselves a hand of applause. We've done all this with a business model that's somewhat different from most companies. We're private, and I think a number of you know that. That's intentional. We could have chosen to be public many, many years ago. And we chose to be private because it allows us to formulate our own destiny, to decide where we want to make our investments. And you'll see some of that in the rest of my story and why we can do that. While we are a private company, we also believe that we have a public responsibility. I won't go into this presentation, but there are a lot of things we do in the places we serve, the constituencies we serve, the places we have offices that show some of our social character. In fact, for many of us, that's what keeps us here, because there's more meaning to it than just building products and delivering it to our customers. All right, so that's about us. You know about products, all our products. We keep building them, a lot of them. I know you're going to see so many different tracks over the course of the next couple of days. So I'm going to simplify or generalize how you see everything that we do. Maybe some of you can use this as a way to understand what we do. Fundamentally, we're here to serve your business. And we're looking at the areas that are common to every business. So the way we look at it, there are 3 things that almost every business does. So starting from the left, the first thing you do is you have to serve your customers. Just as you're the reason for our existence, the same thing applies to you. So everything to do with serving your customers, prospecting them, acquiring them, maintaining them, keeping them happy, all of that is part of that, right? So that's one big business area for you, where we have our products and capabilities. The second piece is what most of us consider our most valuable asset, that is our employees. We need to make them productive. We need to get them the right tools. We need to bring them the information, the analytical tools, everything that they need to collaborate, to communicate, to work, to generate what they do. So that's that middle piece, enabling your employees. You can see that every business does that. The third piece is, of course, running the operations. And that's a big piece. That's everything else that happens outside of the first 2. So it is managing your assets, your financial assets, managing your books, managing your people, your recruitment of your people, performance management of your people, all the operations you do, inventory management, all of that kind of stuff, everything to do with your operations. So that broadly breaks down into HR-related stuff, finance-related stuff, so management of people assets, management of monetary assets, and then operational stuff, which is process automation. So this is the panoply of things that Zoho tries to do. So trying to put it together in one picture. I have one slide on each, so you can see how how this sort of plays out a bit. So let's start with the left. Serving customers, you see the purpose on the top. I've talked about that already. I've put together a sum of the products, not everything that we have, in each of these categories, so they're representative of what we're trying to do. So marketing, we have a marketing automation suite. The focus of that is prospecting, is lead generation, all of that stuff, right? Your sales is CRM, that's the flagship product, and you can see that there and other things alongside it. So this whole slide is about that first piece, acquiring your customers and keeping them. So you see our capabilities aligned against those functions. You can acquire any of these products individually, or they're available as well-priced, well-put-together suites, which is at the bottom of the slide. So that's how you engage with us in this area, if that's what you chose to transform in your business. The second piece is empowering employees. So once again, you can see the objectives on the top, and you can see what we're trying to do. We're trying to enable people to communicate better, to collaborate better, to share ideas better, to generate ideas better, to receive insights from the business better, and to react to all of them in ways that their other employees know how they should coordinate. So this is actually the engine of any company. If you look, as most of you know, we use all our own products. In fact, I should say it the other way. We don't use anybody else's products, right? So you won't find anything we do is built by Zoho. I would say this set of products is probably the most important to us, because we are a knowledge-intensive company, and the way we collaborate and work together is transformational to how we deliver products to you. So most of the things that drive us and drive our innovation come from this suite of products. Once again, you can see they're presented in unified suites. You can acquire them separately. More on that later. The last piece is, of course, running operations. Big area here. There's human resources stuff, there's finance stuff. I touched upon these three. Bunch of products in this area. Shiva was here earlier, so he saves me a couple of minutes now trying to describe what he's been doing for 17 years. So I will just share with you the suites at the bottom, the unified suites that are other ways for you to access these products and capabilities. Okay, so on top of this, what else have we done? We've done one other thing. It's very clear to us that our products are built through the imagination of our minds and the experience of our customers coming back to us. But we know that a lot of these things need to be customized because every business is different. So there's a lot of energy in our business that goes into driving this kind of customization. There are 3 or 4 different ways. The stuff on the left is sort of configuration within the applications themselves, adding a module here, changing a workflow, all those kind of stuff within the application itself. The middle piece is integrating with other things that you work with, third parties, extensions built by others, information coming from other applications. We recognize that you don't live in a universe that's determined solely by Zoho. So that's that middle piece on how you can customize things the way you want it with the applications and capabilities that you need. The last part, of course, is completely custom stuff. And this is where the low code comes in, the no code comes in. And you saw from what Raju did this morning, even that is getting easier. I mean, think of no code getting easier because you're telling an agent to do no code. So where is the world getting to, right? So we've got that other set of capabilities which allows you to completely build things, applications, applets that might not be available off the shelf. You might be running a business that's in logistics and you have a very different inbound logistics model that's not captured in some off-the-shelf software. How do you model it? You use a low-code application, you connect with all the applications that Zoho already provides, so the data is there, the information is there. You write your application yourself using low-code. You integrate it into the Zoho suite, so you have the same single sign-on and everything that works. You run analytics on the top, you're done. That's the vision of that third part. So these are the 4 parts of our products. You already know this. So I've talked about us, I've talked about our products, and now I want to spend the rest of my presentation here telling you about our customer approach and how we look at this. So the first part of our customer approach has to start with the assumptions that we make about you, right? We're building products for you. What are our assumptions of you? All right, so I'm going to go on a limb here and make certain assumptions about the types of people you are. Okay, so let's start. Most of our customers and most of you in this room are aspirational. You want to be the next best thing. Many of you tend to be younger companies. Many of our customers tend to be younger companies. By the way, a lot of these traits I describe apply even to us. So you want to punch above your weight. You want to achieve what leaders in your industry have achieved after a longer period of time. Many of our customers fit this mode. They have those kinds of expectations from their software vendor as well. The second piece is innovation. A lot of the customers we work with are innovators. Your business often depends, like us, on innovation. Your differentiation comes from your innovation. Oftentimes, you're a company that's sandwiched between startups that are attacking you from one side or new companies that have just been formed with perhaps newer technologies, approaches, companies that have been stable around for a longer period of time, and you're in the middle. How do you actually work that? Through innovation. A lot of times, and this happens to us too, your company grows fast, and then it suddenly hits a growth plateau. That happens to a lot of companies. And the way you punch through that plateau is through repeated innovation. We've learned that. We've had to reinvent ourselves many times. So I'm going to ask you, so I feel I'm not speaking in a vacuum here. Show of hands, how many of you actually think you're innovative? All right, quite a number. Let's go back to the other one. The first one I said, aspirational. How many of you think you're aspirational? At least half of you. All right. So the next piece is complexity. Business simply becomes more and more complex. Mid-sized companies today, even small companies today, are as complex as larger companies used to be. And let me explain what that means. You have business processes that are very specific, that are tailored, that are not generalized, that are specialized for different customers. You often work across different geographies. You work with different customer segments. Even small companies today deliver products to broad market segments. Often you work across geographies. You deal with multiple currencies. You're dealing with explosions of data. You're dealing with different models of work, hybrid work. You're dealing with artificial intelligence and figuring out how that should work into your business. Your businesses are complex. So oftentimes, you need the software that can address that complexity, yet make it available to you. Yet make it possible for you to gain the automation that you get without getting lost in the complexity. So that goes back into thinking for us, thinking about how we have to address your needs. Show of hands, how many people think that they deal with complexity in their business? Almost everyone this time. All right. Youthful. A lot of you look young. I look young too, but I do a good job of hiding it. So many of you are with companies that have young people too. You know, and like us, what happens is a lot of your companies are bottom-up driven. You know, so you have people making decisions at lower levels in the company. You are not, young, youthful companies tend not to be constrained by technology. They want the technology to work for them, not the other way around. Younger companies are not constrained by what they call legacy technologies. You know, technologies that have been around for a long time. They used to say that if you've heard this adage, right? They used to say that nobody ever got fired for bringing in Salesforce, or if you are my vintage, IBM, right? So that's what they used to say. Now what do they say? You will get fired if you don't find the best software vendor for your company. It's flipped around completely, right? So that's the nature of youthfulness that's come into companies today. People don't accept norms. They want the stuff that to work today. They're used to consumer-based technologies. They're used to mobile-based technologies, and that's the expectation of their software vendor. Demanding. You can see how this leads to that. By the way, I should ask you, how many of you think you're youthful companies? Just a few, all in the front. So the old people at the back today. All right, demanding. Companies that are demanding, yes. Every one of our customers are demanding. I'll tell you, I can tell you that. So we have very demanding customers. You have complex business processes. You want us to solve it. You listen to the calls that come to our support center. They want things solved exactly how their business works, right? That's what we hear all the time. You want complex software, but you can't afford that it's complicated. So you want it easy to use, you want it simple to use, but it should handle complex stuff. You're demanding. We understand that we are the same way. I am the same way. I'm demanding of our own engineers to build stuff that is complex, but something that's easier for me to use. So that's the nature of it. We identify with that. In other words, I would say you want to have your cake and... yeah. So you know what you want. So you are demanding. So that's another aspect that we see. So I'm going to close with this one. So this is the value. You look for value. And you see in a number of ways. You look for it in pricing. You look for it in software affordability. You look for it across the life cycle of what you do, whether you acquire our products and what happens after that, the maintenance, the support. You look for more capabilities at a given price. And that's not lost on us. You saw what Raju talked about, how we price our AI. So we know you look for value, and we know it's beyond price. We know it's in capabilities, it's in the size of the problem we can solve for your business, and in the stuff that we keep adding year after year, so you feel that you're not stagnant with your investment in us. So that's what we look for value. So how do these assumptions that we make about you influence what we do and how we approach building our products? So I've looked at everything that we do, and I've tried to tighten this down into a few things that will give you a sense of how we approach it. I will also tell you up front that some of this is idealistic. We're not always able to do everything that I'm going to tell you that we do. Sometimes we fail at it, right? And it's our job to be candid and honest about it. But it gives you a sense, though, of how we approach it and what we try to do. So you can hold us to that standard that we set for ourselves. So the first piece is the notion of building sophisticated products. And I'll talk about that in a minute. These are products that not just address your needs today, but they try to anticipate what it'll be tomorrow. So in a sense, our job is often always, when working with customers like you, with all the traits that I just described, our job is often trying to strike that puck where you're going to go, not often where you already are. So you can see from what we're doing with AI, how we tend to see where you will go, and therefore what we need to do now to anticipate that. So I'll touch on three parts of this, of what I mean by sophisticated products. The first one is a notion of a platform. I know you hear this word platform. It's been bandied about by every vendor. And even despite this glare of these lights, I can see some of you rolling your eyes. So I'm going to tell you two of you to just roll it back. Okay? So, yeah. So what we're doing here is, this is about customized software. And I'm going to, we have an entire presentation on this later today. It's done by one of my colleagues, Anand, and he's going to have these beautiful pictures and stuff. You're going to have to deal with my hands, okay? I'm half Italian. So what we're going to do is, the way we describe our platform is, we're trying to do three things here. We're trying to provide the right fit. We're trying to anticipate complexity, deal with complexity, and we're trying to handle growth and needs that may come up into the future. That's what we're trying to do. And to do that, we've come up with the concept of a platform that I'll discuss in a minute. Two aspects to it. The first is the notion of a domain. So domain is basically a business area. So think of it really looks, the notion of a domain came from how we see our customers using our products. So people want to digitally transform their business. So they pick an area of the business that makes sense for them. Maybe it's their customer-facing stuff. Maybe it's their financial operations. Maybe it is IT and services that they're trying to manage. And we realized many of our customers work in that area, work through, build a level of automation and capabilities, and then realize how to bring it to other areas. So we've created these notion of domains, about 5 or 6 of them, that correspond to the ways companies tend to build their transformational strategies. Employee enablement is an example. Customer enablement is another. So we've built these several domains. Now, what's these platforms within these domains? So what does a platform do? You can think of it as 3 layers. At the base layer is the core capabilities that do, and I'll make it come alive through an example. So take the case of CRM. So what's at the core of a CRM? You all know that, so I won't repeat it, but I'll give you I'll summarize. It's about managing your leads, it's about managing your sales process, tracking your accounts, etc. All those things. So that's the core. What's the stuff that comes above the second layer? These are needs you can anticipate. So what are things you can anticipate with the CRM? You know that you're going to need to be integrated to other systems. You're going to pull data from other systems. You know, for example, you're going to need all kinds of reporting. So reporting is an anticipated area. You know that you're going to customize your workflows because you're going to be different. Your business is different. So all of the platform has to allow you to do all those kinds of things above that core set. Those are anticipated needs. What about things you cannot anticipate? How does a platform allow you to do that? So that's the piece where you have all the kinds of things you'll see in the presentation later, which are things like scripting, things like widgets, stuff that's low-code capabilities, the kinds of things that are pre-built and made available so you can tailor that to build the specific needs that you might yourself not know that your business needs in a few years. So the platform is set up to anticipate those needs. So those are the 3 layers we envision it. You'll see some of the details and what we share with you later in the session. So that's the first part. The platform approach. It's taken us several years to come to this, and it's come bottom up from everything we've done and from learning how our customers engage with technology. The second piece is integrated capabilities. This is stuff that sits outside the business process flow. So if you're dealing with, say, sales, you're dealing with the sales business process flow. If you're dealing with accounting, that's another process flow. This is stuff that sits across that. So things, for example, communication tools. How many times have you been inside an email and then you're talking to 3 people in an email and you want to have a meeting with the 3 of them right there, or a chat with the 3 of them because it quickens your ability to get something done. So that's a messaging capability. Is it built into your CRM? Is it built into your email? Similarly, video conferencing. A lot of times you might be in your word processor and you want to do video conferencing right there because you're collaborating on something and you want to talk to 2 people and clarify something. Where does that come in? So these are all tools, and business intelligence is another example. This is stuff that works across applications, across business silos. You saw a good example from Raju earlier this morning. He was sitting in his email, and then you saw how he pulled all this kind of stuff from the CRM, from analytics, right from within his email. That's integrated capabilities. So there are 2 things that are needed to do that. One is the ability to integrate data across different things the organization uses. The second thing is to have the capability. Not every provider who provides CRM has video conferencing capability. So what happens when you need that? You got to buy it. You got to pay it for Zoom. So in a sense, the way we actually enable this, the sophisticated applications is bringing this level of integration and including it with what you do with our products. Third example, we talked about complexity. This is like, like I mentioned earlier, right? This is a tug of war. You want complex applications, but you want them to be simple, right? And that's often at counter purposes. But that's what we try to do. Software has proliferated over time. So, you know, the average small business company uses 172 apps. You can see it on the screen. We probably use over 1,000. So imagine what it takes when you manage all of this, right? You have to sign into them differently. You have to log into them differently, even though there are single sign-on software and stuff like that. You're inundated with features. And when you have so many applications, you can think of everything that happens. It's not just using the app, the procurement of the app, the contracting of the app, the renewal process, the upgrade process, the invoicing, training your users, onboarding people. All of that proliferates. Very soon, your organization is spending more time in managing the automation rather than gaining from the automation. How many of you have had that experience? Lots of hands, right? So that's what one of the things we're trying to do is reduce that level of complexity. Some of that comes from our suites. Some of that comes from some of the integration. Like I said, we're not perfect at this. We're still working in several of these areas. We still have rough edges, but that's where we're headed. This is what we are trying to do. We're trying to not be feature-rich, but feature-clear. So you know how to use the products. And I know that's counterintuitive to a product company. I've spoken to a lot of our product leaders, and this is often a hard concept to get across because we're always trying to put more things for you. We're trying to deal with that complexity I talked about. Okay, so in addition to that, we have to do other things. So I talked about the 3 areas. In addition to that, you expect all these things from us. You expect to scale, you expect to customize, you expect extensibility, you expect us to manage your complexity, data security, privacy. This is table stakes. So this stuff, when I talk about sophisticated applications, we just assume we have to do all this stuff. Nothing special about this. You expect us to do this. So surpassing reference at this point. So the second issue of what we do is we want to make it easy to do business with us. Oftentimes, and I've been on the other side of the coin, oftentimes dealing with a software vendor, especially if you're a mid-sized company with complex needs, is like visiting a dentist. Like you got to do it, right? Neither of you like it. Both of you are smiling though. Right? And when you go to the dentist, it's got to be done. So it's like that. You have this thing, there's a lack of transparency, there's rigidity, people want to do it their way, you have to contract with them in a certain way. So a lot of our focus is to remove that opaqueness that comes with the experience of dealing with software vendors. So it's to bring that transparency, to see pricing. What is it you get? Don't put something on your website which says call for price, because that's a signal that tells you that I'm going to figure out what you are and give you a number that suits you. Right? All our prices are on our website. Or if you have an add-on, tell us what it is. Don't obfuscate what it's going to cost me to engage with you. So we try to do that. Again, like I said, in some places you're going to find line items and all this stuff because of that complexity, but this is what we try to do. Our salespeople try not to be pushy. They try not to be over-optimistic. Again, like I said, you will find some people who quite don't fit that bill, but that's our general corporate mentality. We would rather undersell and over-impress than go the other way around. The other thing is I talked about being private, and this is where it kicks in. We are not about profit maximization. It's not lost on us that we need to be profitable. We've been profitable every single one of those 29 years, believe it or not. We've put away sufficient cash to do those fancy LLMs that Raju was talking about. So we actually have sufficient cash flow to run this business from day one, and we're generating a lot of it. But our focus is not driving maximum profitability at any time, because we don't respond to a third party. We're not answerable to a stock market or a bunch of abstract shareholders. We put our customers in front of our shareholders because that's what we think is the right way to do business. That allows us to have that openness and that transparency. Flexibility and choice. We understand that customers often get straitjacketed into things, into contracts, into products, into business terms. So these are some of the things that we try to understand. What are your constraints? And how do we bring that to you? Flexibility in many ways. Packaging. You can buy our products singly. You can buy them in bundles. You can mix it. You can change your mind. You can enter into contracts. You can change your terms in the middle of a contract. You can switch a product. And we don't say, oh, it's 3 years, or the pricing automatically changes this way after 4 years. We don't play those games. So there's a lot of flexibility. There's purchasing flexibility. There's deployment. You can decide which parts of the application to use. How do you deploy them? How you provision them. You can start with a smaller set of users and then bring into a larger base. It's all about flexibility, so you are not daunted by dealing with complexity coming from the vendor, and you realize that they're not running against their own agenda because there's actually flexibility for your business. That is again what we try to do. Last issue is a focus. I call it a maniacal focus. We certainly as a company have a maniacal focus on value. Value that even we get from people we work with, and certainly the value that we bring to you. Pricing is, of course, at the top of it. It is making our software has always been affordable, and it's flexible. We talked about that a few minutes ago. We keep adding capabilities. We keep adding new things. You buy a suite from us, suddenly there are new products in the suite. The price doesn't change. We had Shiva was here before the break. He talked about what's getting into the finance suite. We talked about AI being built into our products, new capabilities coming into it. So the value comes not just from the price you see on that website, it comes from the attitude of the vendor and how they build things going forward and how they build that into the pricing structure they already have. And we have a very clear philosophy on that. Tie that back to the notion of not trying to maximize profit, because we know we're making enough money, we have a long-term play. Bundling. Talked about this. A lot of value comes from bundling. Sometimes we do things that seem almost absurd. Zoho One. Okay, Zoho One is priced at, if you use it for your entire company, you can see how it's priced. Try doing anything similar to that in the industry. It's a bundling, it's an intentional strategy to provide immense value if you actually put your faith in us and you drive it across your company. And we feel that that's the kind of reward you need to get. So bundling is a big part of it. Our architecture that allows you to grow with it is part of it. Other capabilities outside the product, capabilities like onboarding, capabilities like training, we try to bring that, sometimes price them as part of what we do. Support, we also have price support options to basically bring more and more value at that price. So, in a sense, what we're looking at is the total cost of ownership, not just what you pay, it's everything that you see. When you look at these costs of ownership, finance people, they would often, these are metrics mongers, right? So they will have terms like ROI and ROIC and NPV and what else? IRR and all of these things, right? For us, we see value very differently. What we see across the entire life cycle, it doesn't show up in some number which a finance person is trying to force fit into a spreadsheet. It's more like what you see across the engagement of the product and over its life cycle. It's implementation costs. There's a good study that's put out by a third-party analyst which says on average our products are about a third less expensive to implement in terms of time it takes and resources it takes. So that's a big part of what you do. In many cases, it's a multiple of your first-year investment in the product itself. Support burdens, configuration before customization. That's an important point. Customization is great, but it costs money and it takes time. To what extent can you get what you need by just configuring the product itself or by adding simple extensions to it? That's another way of generating value and reducing your costs over the life cycle of the product. Lastly, usability. We talked earlier about adoption. I was talking to some people outside the room about adoption and how that's always a challenge, especially for salespeople, to adopt software because it's not simple enough. It seems more like a measurement tool for the management rather than a tool of enablement for them, right? So creating these user interfaces and paradigms that make it simpler for customers to use. Finally, the service ecosystem. That's the last aspect of value, which is everything outside what we do. Our partners, our tools that you can acquire in the marketplace. Now you can see AI agents. We talked about AI agents. Soon we'll see those on the marketplace. The knowledge base, the events that we create like this. There's Zoho as a Zoho community. We have a whole section at the Expo Hall. That's another way of creating events across the world for you to meet with each other, learn from each other. So that's part of that value too, how you benefit from the ecosystem beyond just the vendor. So I want to close with this and just summarize. So what is it that we do to, now that we've anticipated what we think you are and your issues are, how do we approach it? 3 things. The sophistication that we want to bring to our products, talked about that, leading with the platform. We want to be easier to do business with. That's a very behavioral issue. It's not a technological issue. It's a behavioral issue. We want to be approachable. We want to be honest. We want to feel culpable at times, or be honest about what we can do and can't do. And of course, not last, but definitely not the least, a maniacal focus on value. So I know that this is what we intend to do. Sometimes we fall short. And sometimes we might miscalculate where we shot the arrow and it lands somewhere else. But the purpose of my presentation here was to give you a sense of how our compass is set and where it's headed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Ended right on the dot. So we are going to not have any time for questions. However, we now will be moving into lunch and expo time. Before you get up, just a quick announcement. Raju, Tony, Vijay, they'll be floating around. They're over here at the moment, so you can maybe try to grab them if you have some questions as we go into that. After lunch and the break, which is about, I think, 1:30, we will be breaking into all of the different tracks. There's a sales track, marketing track, customer support track, finance track, developer track, whole bunch of tracks. You can find sessions that you want to go to and enjoy those. And tomorrow, there's also an AI track. So if you were interested in the stuff that Raju was talking about earlier today, we'll have a whole thing focused on that in addition to a number of AI topics in all those tracks I mentioned. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy your lunch, and we'll see you at 1:30. Another big round of applause for Vijay, Raju, and Tony. Thank you so much.
Please tell them about the surveys. Yeah.
Last but not least, sorry, in our end of our sessions, we'll have this little QR code which brings up a survey so you can review the sessions. You can review Vijay, you can review Tony, you can view Raju. You'll be able to review me later, only if you do a good job with taking care of me. But nevertheless, we'll have those at the end of sessions all the time. We really want your feedback on how we're doing so we can continue to make this as valuable for you as possible. Thank you so much.